banner.
Is it Clark? But have you frozen or is you reading something?
Welcome to the Zoom test kitchen where the magic
That was an
happens
image
live.
from
Every Friday
earlier
we're on air, testing
that
tech to
froze when I
thrive.
left.
From screen share to breakout rooms, we push Zoom to its max. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's in our tech hacks. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We'll dive into the settings, explore every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drab. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert in disguise, we've got tips and tricks. We'll open up your eyes. From polls to quizzes, we test functionalities. Join us live, see what Zoom does with ease. So if your meetings lag, or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions, we'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, where Zoom fun has begun. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no wreck. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no wreck. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in a fun, engaging way. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We've got your back, no wreck. We've got your back, no wreck. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in a fun, engaging way.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen. It is Friday, and I have to turn off my original sound. It's Friday, March 27th, and holy moly, have we had some updates from the Zoomiverse this week. This is really exciting stuff. 7.0, Zoom ISO 3.0. Wow. There's a tremendous amount to talk about. It's good to see some long lost friends here with us today. And it's especially wonderful to have Jonathan with us and Andy from Zoom themselves. It's fantastic to see you here. And I'm gonna let you start us off. Tell us about Zoom ISO 3.0. It's unbelievable.
Well, hey, David, nice to see everybody. Happy Friday, and good to be with you all again. Yeah, it's been a busy start to 2026 for us. We've hit the ground running in a number of areas. The enhanced media add-on was what we were talking about last time we got together and the upgrades that's bringing to our core media transport. And last
Which,
weekend we
by the
rolled that
way,
out. Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I have the enhanced media package on my main account. I transferred it earlier this morning to this account for this meeting. So hopefully, and well, I'm not using Ecamm. So hopefully we are looking
Yeah,
all
I can
this.
tell. I'm sending 60 FPS and 1080p. And if I look at my overall network statistics, I am sending yeah, over 12 megabit per second right now, which is awesome. So
Amazing.
yeah,
So
this
we
is a
look
big upgrade.
gorgeous on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Well, you always look gorgeous, but that's
Ah, you're so sweet.
well, it's wonderful to see you all. And so the next kind of thing that we've been working on, obviously there's all the Zoom 7.0 stuff. I'm sure you guys are going to talk about that, but I wanted to spend some time today talking about our big Zoom ISO 3.0 launch. Now, we originally introduced Zoom ISO in 2021, back when we were a separate company from Zoom. And at that time, the Zoom ISO was really trying to figure out how is it possible to get isolated video and audio feeds out of Zoom. And at the time, we could only do video. We had to spawn all these windows on your screen and capture them and send them out that way. And it was really designed around the limitations that we had at the time. So when we got to Zoom in 2022 and we had the opportunity to get in there and build the underlying infrastructure that was needed, we built all the raw data and SDK related functionality that we needed to be able to do this the way that we wanted to. And at IBC in 2022, we introduced Zoom ISO version 2, which was a redesign of the app that was designed to leverage all those things that we had built. So isolated audio feeds was a big update from there. But the real mechanical thing happening behind the scenes was that we were able to get true isolated video from the Zoom cloud and then do multiple concurrent feeds of that. And the design at the time was really just stretching what we had from Zoom ISO V1 to cover the area that we needed to support the V2 features. With Zoom ISO V3, this is the first time that we've actually got to step back and look at not only the work that we've done building out the SDKs, but really think about the niche that Zoom ISO can fill. Because now we have custom AV for Zoom Rooms that's doing a lot of this stuff in the enterprise space. And we have all these amazing third-party integrations that have built Zoom functionality directly into their applications. And so now, for the first time ever since we introduced Zoom ISO is kind of free to figure out what it wants to be and what it wants to do and the value that it can provide, rather than trying to do a million different things in a million different ways. Because there's optimal ways of doing things now. So we have taken this opportunity to completely redesign Zoom ISO from the ground up to really, for the first time, get to share our vision for remote contribution, our kind of ultimate reference app for being able to get those isolated audio and video feeds out. And that's what we're launching on Monday. So I'm going to tell you today that Zoom ISO V3 is going to come out on Monday. You'll be able to download it from the website. There'll be a newsletter that will come out. And alongside of that update, we'll also be updating tiles in the Zoom graphics toolkit with a minor update to support the enhanced media license. So Zoom ISO V3 graphics toolkit will be, I think it's 1.0.1, and then tiles will be 1.2.2. And they will, all three of these apps, you'll be able to sign in with a account that has the enhanced media license assigned or the existing hub host licenses that we support, and it will activate them as well. So you'll get all the media upgrades, but you'll also get the license pathway. Jonathan, do you want to give maybe any just high level kind of design direction on Zoom ISO, kind of what some of the big ideas are, and then we can get into some of the specifics?
Yeah, that sounds great. Again, I think echoing what Andy said, this was a wonderful opportunity to really modernize the look and feel of Zoom ISO V3, and to take a lot of the feedback that we've received from all of you guys over the last few years and put those workflows into practice. So you'll find that there are dozens of little features throughout the interface that are really optimized for that production flow. And you'll find also that the interface is now closely aligned with our other liminal applications, specifically tiles. So it has a lot of the same look and feel of tiles, similar navigation, similar meeting join experience. And this allows us to, again, simplify and have a cohesive design pattern for use. So we're very excited to share that with you today.
Great. So I think maybe what I'll do is I'll share my screen and we can take a look at the app. And because it's not just a cosmetic upgrade, there's a ton of new functionality that's actually built in here as well. And it's probably easiest if you just get to see it. So I will turn on my screen share here. And because it's an enhanced media meeting, I could even share at 60, but as I'm just going to share my desktop, I'll just share it at 30 here. So I'm gonna share my desktop. And then I'm going to go ahead and launch the app. So you can see we have this beautiful new icon. And I click that, I get this big splash screen. You can see the Zoom ISO beta. It's doing the login for me. And then this is very familiar if you've used Tiles. You have our big join buttons on the right, and then in-app preview of your video feed, or join buttons on the left, preview on the right-hand side. I'm going to make this bigger, and then I'm going to go to the video outputs tab. The first thing you'll notice right away is the new design language built around in-app video previews. So we have the ability to see a full thumbnail of all the different outputs that we're doing. I can create a bunch of these, and I can see audio and video. There's meters on the right-hand side, and I have it in kind of this card layout. Now, if you still want the more compact view, we do support the list view, which is more similar to what Zoom ISO V2 looks like. So if you don't need to be rendering all those video previews in the area, you still have this more compact version of it. But if you're actually trying to look at and monitor what those participants look like and manage them from here, you can see them directly inside of the app, or in list view, you can still click on the preview to see the video thumbnail over there. But this was the kind of the big hero view that is available in this layout. There's a couple more things on this page I'll come back to in a second, but on the audio page, advanced audio is now audio outputs, and it has a couple of new features. One of which is the fact that you can now select multiple multi-channel audio devices concurrently. So if, for example, if I wanted to send to my Blackhole 16-channel audio device, but also to my M2 audio interface, I could do that. So I have multiple devices that show up inside of the app. I can do something like that, and now I see these devices and I can manage them separately. And you have the table here where you can do the mix, or you can do the output or participant, all the same things you had there before. One really cool feature of the new audio outputs feature is the ability to do delay on a per channel basis. So if you know that your remote guest is out of sync, even if the issues are at the origin, you can go right here and you can adjust that audio delay for that channel directly inside of the app without having to have external processing for it. Or if you happen to know that your video and audio chain have some sort of built-in offset from each other, this is a very convenient place to do that as well. You still have the participants tab. It'll make more sense when I join a meeting later. But this is that table view where you have a matrix where you can one-click route participants to individual outputs. Eventually, we'll probably move this into the video outputs page, but we wanted to leave it up here for now so it's familiar. Now, there's a ton of new stuff in the settings area. First of all, Zoom ISO is built on a completely redesigned media engine built around Metal, which is Apple's GPU accelerated rendering technology. So this Metal engine is extremely high performance, and in our testing, it's almost a 25% improvement over the already incredible performance that we had on the vImage engine. But it also opens up the opportunity for us to do in-app scaling all the way up to 4K 60 for all the incoming video feeds. So yes, we support the enhanced media profiles. We can actually scale it even further if you're trying to work in a 4K pipeline. The Metal engine will support that. A lot of cool things in there. The defaults are also more exposed now. So if I add a multi-channel audio device and I want it in stereo striping, I can go ahead and set that up here. NDI, as we announced in December, we're now licensees of the NDI Advanced SDK, which means we can do NDI HX3 encoding. This means basically H.264 or HVEC over a NDI connection. So this is much more network efficient. NDI feeds that are running in the full bandwidth mode use the SpeedHQ codec, which can be 100 to 120 megabit per stream. NDI HX3 can be between 10 and 20 megabit per stream, so a lot more density on the network I/O. And we have granular encoding here between which codec you want to use, how you want the bandwidth to be controlled. We also support NDI discovery servers and groups, as well as network interface selection. So if you want to make sure your NDI traffic is always dedicated to a single NIC and you want to leave all your other traffic on a different NIC, you can now set that up because these are features that are available in the advanced SDK. SRT got some upgrades as well on the encoding profiles. Now you can select how you want the codec to be configured. So the 3 H.264 encoding requirements there. The most compatible one is the mainline profile, so that'll open up more compatibility for more SRT decoders. On the OSC side, if you've looked at Tiles recently, you've seen this new design as well. We brought that over to Zoom ISO. Still working on that. You'll have the in-app command browser later in a subsequent update, but you have this new log view and you have kind of centralized settings. The other big one that we're super excited about is this recording feature. So Zoom ISO now supports the ability to record the individual video and audio tracks directly inside of the software without any additional apps on the system. And this is a super powerful feature. So in addition to being able to select either a directly attached disk or a network drive, I can set up the container to be MOV, MP4, or MXF. and I can select the codec to be H.264, HEVC, or ProRes 422LT. Be careful if you use ProRes. This is 100 megabit per second recording, so you better be ready. Even though this is the LT profile, you're going to fill up that disk pretty quick. But if you're working in an environment that supports a ProRes workflow, man, you get some buttery smooth timeline performance from these files. Very exciting. But one of my favorite combinations is MXF with H.264. This allows me to directly import these growing files into an Adobe Premiere timeline or a DaVinci Resolve timeline. And as it's writing the files, it continues to grow in the editor. So if you have to turn around a quick edit, you can write these files directly into your editor and it will grow on the timeline. It's really, really powerful, this MXF format, these growing file formats. So lots of fun stuff to play with there. Last thing
I'm gonna say you can make
Yeah.
some real big files. Doesn't matter which codec you use.
Yeah, you can make them. Yeah, if you could. So be prepared because we will definitely do it. These are segmented recordings as well. So if if your computer goes out or you crash the app or something like that happens, your files are safe up to the last 10 seconds. So there's this kind of rolling finalization that's happened. You don't have to wait for the whole recording to finish to finalize the MP4 like you do in other software. We do that because this is a software encoder, right? So your best bet is always to have, if you have a hyperdeck sitting off to the side that's doing recording, that's obviously going to be the most reliable because it's not going to be based on the other stuff happening on your computer. We built in some safety features to help with that. Now, the last feature I want to highlight here that's a real mind blower is our output effects feature. This allows us to see an in-app preview of the video feed. I just have the thumbnail right now, but you'd see the live video of the participant. And you have individual control of exposure, contrast, saturation. You have a tone curve. You have the ability to individually color correct the shadows, the highlights, and the mids. And my favorite, in addition to some rule of thirds, center lines, frame guides, things like that, we support histograms, vector scopes, and waveforms live in the app, directly rendered inside of the software for incredible color correction performance inside of the software tool. This is huge. So I'll bring this into the meeting in a second. Sorry, say again.
So it's the equivalent of shading a camera.
Absolutely. Yes. And we've actually benchmarked this against $2,000 vector scopes. And we actually are quite happy with the fidelity of this workflow. Jonathan, maybe if you want to dial this in, you could talk a little bit more about output effects and some of the workflow there, and then we can take some questions and walk through from there.
Absolutely. Let me turn on my recording permission here. Here we go. Andy, will I be able to use recording permission, or should I use live stream in this meeting?
Be able to do either.
Yeah.
I already gave you recording permissions.
Okay, great. Give me 1 second here.
I'm
going to use live stream here for a minute. There we go.
I'll also join this as well from my side, just in case that.
Great, thank you. Did you see the new petition?
And if it's helpful, I have it up on my screen also.
Yeah, we're just
okay. There we go. Now it's enabled. All right. Give me 1 second to just select. Okay, fantastic. Okay. All right, let me share my screen. And I will do the optimize for video sharing. Again, I'm going to go up to 60 FPS with enhanced media just to see how that goes. And I won't share sound. There we go. Okay. All right. Let me hide this here. Okay, great. So again, I'm going to look at a participant here. I'm going to keep this pretty minimal just because I have a lot of other things running on this system. But I'm going to select.
Can you switch off the enhanced media share so we can actually see this at the full resolution?
It looks really bad.
Oh, it looks really bad right now. Okay, great. Let me do that. It's probably still spinning up to the resolution there.
Yeah,
okay, I'll just
don't worry about optimizing. They'll see the lower frame rate. Yeah.
There we go.
Is that better? Okay.
Now it's legible.
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and, David, I have you selected here. If you don't mind, I'm going to color correct your video. So you can access this again by double clicking on that output, or you can open up, there's an output effects button in the top. So I'll show just a little bit more about what we have here I guess my personal recommendations, and then I can speak a little bit about what's to come. Although we don't want to speak too much about that until we release those. So again, this is fantastic for doing some quick checks to make sure that your incoming guest is aligned with the specification that you would like. David, I can check you against your video here as well, your framing. And then, as Andy mentioned, we do have these live scopes. And this is something we're going to continue to refine to make sure that they're more accurate and better represented. And if you guys have any requests for how you want these scopes to be tuned, we're more than happy to accommodate. So please give us feedback on these. So this allows you to get very advanced if you know what you're doing. And it allows you to, again, just get very specific with minor adjustments. Naturally, this is still applying as math and filters on top of the video feeds out of Zoom ISO. So we wouldn't recommend pushing it too far because you are, you're not working with source quality here. This is after Zoom transport. But it does allow you to slightly correct for maybe underexposure. It's the sharpness tool can, when used tastefully, can be kind of useful as well, especially on lower resolution participants. Temperature I found very helpful. And then honestly, even shadows and highlights can be useful. You can see the effect there, depending on the need. Highlights can be useful if you want. If you crank it too far, of course, it can really mess with skin tones, but that can be helpful depending on the grading. And then you have the ability as well to bypass. So you can see, let me make this a little more extreme. So I'm going to bring the saturation down. You can see this is before, this is after. So you can quickly toggle back and forth to compare. And then all of these settings can be reset individually or all together. And we also have the ability to export your configuration and save it to a file. So if you have a look that you enjoy, you can load that up as a default, or you can use that to apply it to multiple outputs. Because again, what these output effects are applying to is a Zoom ISO output channel for the duration of that meeting. So you can make corrections and jump between different output channels from a single interface. Put this up on a second monitor, have that be your shading interface, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, you could have the same output twice and have one of them not be adjusted and have the other one be adjusted.
Yep.
Correct.
And these features would also be recorded in the file, so you can set it up so that these adjustments save. And then to Alex's point, if you wanted a before and after, you could make the output twice, and you could have it applied to one or the other. It's not participant centric; it's channel centric. So which output you're correcting, you're correcting for that channel.
That's right. That's right. Increase the contrast here. There we go. And then I'll speak about what's to come. So we are working on cropping controls. This will allow you to manually adjust the zoom level and panning up and down and left and right for a video. Obviously, this is punching in as a digital effect, but this can be useful if somebody is slightly off center and you can't tell them to adjust during an event, but you could compensate a little bit in your side. It can be useful if you have the resolution to do so. And then the overlays, what this will allow is a limited set of baked-in graphics, similar to what you might find in Tiles. So as you know, in Tiles, you can customize the name tag, you could customize the hand raised and other indicators. We are adding those capabilities to Zoom ISO to also allow you to, again, you can have the clean feed like Zoom ISO is known for, but if you did want to have a stylized lower third that takes their Zoom name, you can bake that into the video output just to simplify processing down the chain.
So the big picture I'd say for all of this is that now Zoom ISO is not only just delivering the stems, but it's trying to help you get them ready for air. And it's also trying to deliver them in ways that can help multiple different workflows, like if you needed to record them or if you needed to do some sort of management or processing with them. So if you think about Zoom ISO as sort of a three-stage application, there's the content acquisition and capture, where now we have this new UI to help you find what you're looking for, and we have these workflows that support that. Then there's the processing stage, where we have that new metal processing engine that lets you, do the super fast GPU accelerated scaling and conversion operations and all the output effects and controls and the delay and all of that. And then the export function, where we continue to support NDI, but now we have that expanded support for NDI HX3 and the different encoding controls there. We have the SRT upgrades. We still support Blackmagic Desktop Video and have some performance upgrades for Blackmagic devices as well. So at each stage of the kind of story of Zoom ISO, there's been a major upgrade in V3. Yeah, you'll get to check it out on Monday. We're still going into beta, so there's going to be issues and we're going to be things that you find and report to us. And we'll be running this beta program probably for most of the summer at least, just to be able to gather feedback and continue to work on additional features. But super excited to have you and go through there. Oh, you're right. We didn't talk about one other thing that people might find interesting. Now that I have it dialed into a meeting, it's a little easier to show. If I share here, you'll see you have these three buttons, the video, the audio icon, the video icon, and the chat button. So I'll say, hi, David. And I can just send a message to David directly from this interface as a DM. So a little, and then these video and audio icons, these are for if I was a co-host, which you don't have to change right now, but if I was a host or co-host, these buttons would allow me to turn their video on and off, or request that they turn it on if you haven't gotten the pre-permission to turn it on. So you can do that management directly from here. So a little bit of participant prep can happen on this page as well.
Where does that where does that DM come in?
So set a participant output on your side, and then underneath the selection field, you'll see three buttons on the card, and one of them is a chat icon. Also at the bottom right of the application, you see a chat to group button or chat with group button, and those will allow you to send messages either to all of your outputs or to a specific output.
Right. No, you said that you had sent me a message, and that's what I didn't see.
I got
I'm
the
wondering-
message.
You got the
I
message?
think we're all playing with it. We've been setting up a
No,
bunch of different
I
people.
sent Robert. I sent a message to you and Tamara and Andy.
And I sent a chat message, and I see that I've sent it from Andy Carluccio to David Paskin as a DM
Where would that show up? 'Cause that's
inside
what
of
I'm
your
not
Zoom
seeing.
client, inside of your not in your Zoom ISO, in your regular Zoom.
In my regular Zoom.
Yeah,
client.
I picked your camera
The
feed.
one you're on
okay.
on this meeting with right now.
I see. Gotcha. Wow. Yes, I see that. Jonathan, thank you. Wow. Okay.
That's cool.
I have to say the design is beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is so well done. I had a little sneak preview. The being able to adjust individual people's video. I mean, all I can say is Ecamm, I want all of this.
And that's
I
the
want
thing,
you to-
is that it's built on the same SDK that all the
Right.
third parties have access to. So anything that this app is doing that you like, you can go to any of those third parties and say, hey, we know that there's things that you can do that you're not doing, and we want you
Right.
to do them. So absolutely.
Right. There was a question earlier about was it about white balance, I think, which you answered in the chat, but can you adjust I'm sorry, not about white balance. Can you adjust while the scopes are active? And you said yes.
Yes, I
So-
can share my screen and show that.
And the
So-
scopes will reflect that. Those
Correct.
changes.
So the
obviously.
scopes are post adjustment. So you can see here, I'll make this bigger so you can make this easy to see. So there's David. I'll turn off these center lines so you can see it. Now I'm going to turn on a vignette, pull him in from the sides here, and then I'll crank the saturation, just deep fry his video for a second. You can see that the video scopes are adjusting based on the adjustments that are being made to the sliders. And then to Jonathan's point, I can blind mode and go back to this, and then I can turn the effects back on, and I can see the scopes are adjusting to that. And now it's not a live edit to the video feed. You click apply to take the changes that you've made when you're happy with them and push them to the channel as a group. So you do your live edit here, settle it out, and then you push it on the channel.
And the exporting of this, that's essentially building a LUT, correct?
In a manner of speaking, it's not a true cube LUT file. It's a JSON descriptor of the state of all the sliders. Because like a vignette would not be like a traditional like color correction layer.
Okay.
The cropping will be its own thing. So these will all kind of save into the state of the panel. But yeah, you kind of have the right idea.
And what I would say is that we are looking to add LUT input support. We do think it would be great to add your own color lookup table and just have that as applied grading as well. But for now, of course, it is, like Andy said, is just a capture of the settings of the interface.
And I think it's really,
Sorry.
the scopes are really important, even without making any adjustments. Like you can use this to talk to your participants about what might be happening in their video in a big way.
Yep, absolutely.
P Bell from YouTube is asking if Zoom ISO is used to apply graphic overlays. They're also the option to get a clean and dirty output simultaneously. And you said that you can just set it on separate channels.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. So you would just create two outputs, but the same person on both, because the output is on a per channel basis. We're also thinking about workflow stuff for like, do we want to give you a setting to record pre or post? But for now, it's easier just to have you record two separate channels if you wanted to do that, or have one channel going to live and not record it, and then have a second channel just for recording that's clean. From a processing perspective, it's all going to be the same. How does the system load compare to V2 is the other part of the question. And this is something we're really excited about. So when you run, so let me move this out of the way, show you this. So when you're in the outputs view in this new grid view, you're rendering the previews of these participants. So I can pick a couple of people here. Let me see who's got their camera on here. Actually, better way to do that, go to participants, filter for video on, and then I can go, all right, Peter's got a camera, Talok's got a camera, Robert's got a camera. Boom, there they are. So you're rendering these previews. This takes some processing power. One of the things that we did when we designed Zoom ISO V1 and V2 was we were super minimal with the UI because we wanted to leave all the performance on the table. It was the first generation of Apple Silicon. Like, we wanted to make sure that all the performance of the system was, available to the video processing pipeline. And then we surprised ourselves with how much performance we were able to get out of those chips, that we've now been able to spend some of that margin that we saved on these UI features. But at any time, you can go to the list view, and the list view won't render those previews anymore, and you get the performance back. So the GPU accelerated encoding is there, and it is not a massive difference. We definitely recommend that you run it in the metal engine mode, because that will use the GPU. But if you want to run it in the exact same way that you ran V2, the V2 engine is in here. You just set it to vimage mode. That will turn off the proc amp. There'll be a couple of limitations throughout the app where, because we're not using metal, you don't get those features, but you can actually run it in the literal mode of Zoom ISO V2 with the same rendering engine that Zoom ISO V2 had inside of this app. If for some reason you need to do that. But metal is going to give you, and our testing, probably maybe 20-25% performance improvement. We still have to run all of our benchmarks. We haven't done that yet. We're going to do that when we get out of beta and finish all the video pipeline stuff, but we'll benchmark this again. But we're seeing good performance right now. And also the industry has moved forward, right? It's been several years. We're now on M4 Mac Mini, M5 laptops just came out, big GPUs on those guys, way faster instructions per clock, more cores available to you. So if you have one of these newer chips, you could be in the grid view and you'll see similar performance, like the M4 Mac Mini in grid view with a bunch of the settings turned on, performs similarly to how Zoom ISO V2 performed with its more minimal set of features on an M1 Mac Mini. So it's almost like the product lines have stayed consistent while the features have grown. And then if you need more margin, you just can spin down some of those new features and gain back some of that additional margin. But we've reliably been able to do 8 participants on a Mac Mini to all of our production protocols. A lot of these protocols support compressed buffers now. So the SRT and the NDI HX3, in addition to the recording, those are all real-time H.264 encodes that are happening on Apple Silicon. So we're using dedicated accelerators that are not on the CPU, that are part of the chip, that makes it really, really fast. So there's been a ton of work done on the underlying engine. Eyal from our team has just done a phenomenal job on a lot of the back-end rendering and performance here. So we're very, very happy with how the app is performing. And you can see that I've got at 60, I'm receiving 60 from Zoom, so I should actually bump up some of my outputs here and take advantage of that. So like Peter, I can see him at like 60 something FPS here. David's doing some stuff on his side, so that will probably bump back up soon to 60. But really, really great to be able to get all those improvements and pass them through Zoom ISO all the way to your final destination.
So I've got, for comparison, I've got a MacBook M4 MacBook Pro. I'm running ISO and OSC on the same machine. I'm capturing 4 video feeds. I'm sending one of those video feeds out via Siphon to another computer, which is, I don't know what I'm doing here, but
I don't know what you're doing either, David, but
I know exactly what I'm doing, actually. No, I know exactly what I'll tell you what
cool,
I did.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what I did is my Zoom ISO 1, I have set to active speaker. If I change that to participant,
Yeah, there you go.
and I do, I'm going to pick on Robert. So
Kind of
now
blown away that you can
I'm
get Siphon onto another computer. Can you tell me how that works?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was shaking my head too. I don't understand that one.
Ecamm.
But
It's Ecamm is seeing that video via Siphon.
but Ecamm and Zoom ISO are on the same computer. Yeah,
No,
it's impossible. There's no way that Siphon can go over the network. Yeah.
then maybe
So then if it's happening that way, it's not
NDI.
happening the way you think
It's
it's
probably
happening.
NDI. It's probably
It's
NDI.
probably NDI. Yeah. Yeah.
You think it's NDI? Let's try. Oh, yeah, it's NDI.
Yeah.
That would have been cool, though. I'm just saying.
RDMA over Thunderbolt or something like that.
So I'm just having zero glitches whatsoever with all of this running at the same time.
That's great.
Just fantastic.
Yeah, we're very, very happy with the performance. Yep. Yep.
David Brady.
Just before we get to the
Sorry.
question, just because it's related
Yeah.
to what David's getting at. So the OSC API from some Zoom OSC and Zoom ISO V2 are in here as well. There's been a couple of breaking changes that we've made, breaking in the sense that like they are changes to some of the type identifiers that we used in previous versions as we modernize this. We've already engaged with Companion. We're working with others. So everything probably day one might not work exactly the way it did before, but as we work through the beta process, we'll get the Companion module updated or we'll make adjustments on our side to smooth out some of the rough edges. But the OSC API is in here. So on Monday, if you need Zoom OSC, you want to use the enhanced media license, just download Zoom ISO, same functionalities inside, and you can use that instead as your OSC client for enhanced media. We will make a Zoom OSC V5 later based on the Zoom ISO V3 redesign. We're not doing that today. We're going to let that settle out and then we'll go back and build out Zoom OSC because really all you're doing back in the day, right? Zoom OSC, when it was its own license, it made sense to have, a separate client and do all that stuff. Now the whole suite is on the same license. So you're just getting the OSC client to strip out the video stuff and it'll be a smaller package. So we'll still do it, but there's no like technical reason why you wouldn't just use the Zoom ISO client to do the same OSC commands.
So David Brady is asking, for the knob twiddlers out here, can those adjustments be addressed over interfaces? A la MIDI, OSC, Companion, Stream Deck, and then part two, can you then save those and load them on other systems?
Part two, yes, that's that file that you can save, and then you can move that file between computers and load them up somewhere else. For addressing all the knobs and dials, all the new features in V3, we're going to look at OSC APIs for all of those consistent with what we do today. Don't have that in the initial one, focusing on getting the stuff we have covered and getting the final controls in. So we want to get cropping added in. We want to get the overlays added in. Then once we get to the final shape of it, we'll go in and build an OSC API for all that.
And I'll say too, it will be exciting to use OSC for something more close to what it was actually designed for, which is turning knobs and faders for adjustments. So that'll be good.
Yeah, we use OSC for reasons that it was never really intended. So to go back to the original purpose, which was a slider, to control software will be a delight. Yeah.
But I will say, I mean, we're joking, but also in a serious tone, like apps like Touch OSC and tools that are specifically designed for touch-based slider control over OSC and MIDI, those are going to be excellent for making adjustments on the new output effects.
Yeah.
And I wanted to jump in and say, if you're the type that likes to look at the list and not the preview version of the outputs page, barring a clear cache, you will always come back to that when you reopen the app.
Yep. So we remember what views and preferences you had, and you can have it look that way if you wanted to. Yeah.
What other questions do folks have? I don't know if you want to just talk for a moment at all about enhanced media and how that's rolling out and what it's looking like. What are you hearing from folks?
For sure. So
I'm in. This is so David. I immediately bought it immediately. And then I also immediately forgot that I have to turn all the knobs on in the back end. So there I was for the first 3 days saying, how do I look on every Zoom meeting I had? Do I look better now? And I hadn't even turned the damn thing on. So how's that rollout going? Because this
has been one of the highest energy.
In this meeting, it looks amazing.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people were surprised by when you hear on paper, oh, it's 60 FPS, the bit rate's moving up, but the resolution's the same. Oh, is it really going to make a difference? Is it, in my meetings, am I going to even notice this? Right. And I think it's clear based on the work that's happened, just how much of a more lifelike difference the 60 FPS especially makes. The 12 megabit on top of that helps a lot with the motion too, so you don't see smearing and things like that. But it's really, really exciting. And it's one of those things where now that you can see it yourself, it just tells its own story. And we wanted to make sure that all of our integrations were coming online in time to support that. So that's why, we've timed the V3 launch around the enhanced media online purchase access. We've also coordinated with the third-party developers so that their integrations can come online here in the coming weeks to make that happen. And our Zoom Rooms custom AV release, I think is April 3rd. So that's coming up just around the corner as well. So we're trying to get all that stuff done before NAB. But yeah, you're right, David. Online purchase happened on last weekend. So now you can add it. And then we announced since the last time I was here that the liminal apps are included in the enhanced media add-on as well. That's another sweetener. So you look at this license package and it's like, oh my gosh, like not only all the quality improvements and things that are there, but all the tools I need to use them are also included in that. Super excited about that. It's really finally, we've been joking, we have a production SKU finally. Like we can point to our own thing that's there, and the billing makes sense for what it is, and it focuses on features that have a lot of overlap with each other, and we've been able to work with the Zoom team to get that to happen. So we're very excited about it. Conversations in enterprise around enhanced media have also been very interesting, very different than the type of conversation we're happening here. But like, how do they upgrade all of their boardrooms, that they have to be able to experience these more lifelike features? And those have been very interesting conversations as well. So everybody seems to have a unique angle on it. But we even think the baseline media experience is just so much better, let alone all the vertical applications that benefit from the higher fidelity, like broadcast and things like that.
We have a few questions coming in from YouTube, but I just want to mention real quick that one of the things I discovered is that if a lot of us, forgive me, Zoom, purchased the Zoom Sessions Plus license just so we could get the liminal add-ons. This doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to want to drop that. In my case, at least, I want enhanced media and I want liminal apps, but I want them on two separate accounts. So what I could do is, and you can't separate them from within enhanced media. Right. So what I could do is simply apply to enhanced media to two accounts. The more economical way to do it is to actually keep getting the liminal apps through the Zoom Sessions Plus and then have the enhanced media. So if that's your workflow, that's something to be aware of.
And we're still excited about having them in the events platform, because for those customers, especially those who are using the events platform, again, there's that overlap between things like, okay, the tool where I'm using to manage my events is the same tool where I'm getting the licenses for the tools that help me create my events.
Right.
And they're all together there. We've seen that be really popular with our enterprise customers, especially. But this is the price point and the model around enhanced media, I think will make a lot of sense for like those small production shops that, just want to license that up. They're not organizing the event customers doing that, but they want to bring their tools in. It just makes a lot of sense.
And we should also just say out loud how absurd it is that we get all of this for $240 a year.
Yeah, it's a great price. I mean, we really worked hard on all the server architecture required to make this scalable and make the cost work. A lot of, you guys experience the apps, right? But what you don't really see is all the server infrastructure behind the scenes across 30 data centers that are doing all of this work to manage hundreds of millions of streams every day. And that's its own engineering challenge of its own. Teams really come together on that, and that's why we're offering it such an aggressive pricing on that, the $20 a month with annual commit or $25 without annual commit for all that data plus the tools. That's very exciting for us.
It's just unheard of. Colin McCulley from YouTube, clarify base Zoom account requirements for enhanced media, 1080p and 60 FPS.
Yes. So any paid Zoom account can add add-ons from Zoom, including the enhanced media. So the base level would be Zoom Pro plus enhanced media add-on. That would be the minimum to get to 60 FPS and high bitrate 1080p. And additionally, because Pro accounts by themselves only qualify for 720p, if you add enhanced media to a Pro account, it will activate 1080p on that account as well. So you'll see the additional slider there. So you don't have to worry about that corner case of not having it and then adding it. Business and above, obviously single seat business is now available. So if you just want 1080p and you don't need liminal and you don't need the enhanced media add-on features, you can do a single seat of business and send a support ticket. But if you add enhanced media, 1080p gets added in addition to the enhanced media settings, in addition to liminal apps, and no support ticket is needed on any account level.
P. Belb from YouTube. For framing, can individual participants see a return feed, a return video just for them? For example, multiple participants checking their framing simultaneously versus one by one.
The output effects channel does not loop back to the meeting unless you make the loop. So you can, capture that and pass it back in, and then they can look at it. What we don't let you do today for rendering reasons is open up 16 output effects windows concurrently and render scopes and overlays for all of those at the same time, capture all of those, and blow up 16 return feeds back in. So no, that the concurrency wouldn't work. What I would do is I would set active speaker as one channel, and then I would have people do an audio check at the same time as seeing themselves when they're doing the active speaker, see the scopes, make any local adjustments. Because we should say this, right? Truth be told, the best place to make adjustments is on the sender side before it gets to Zoom, right? We're there as the last line of defense between the rest of the video pipeline, right? But if you can go into the camera and actually change the sensor exposure or change, things on the camera, that will be the best outcome. But we're here to backstop that. But the scopes are useful because the scopes show you all the way to the end of the pipeline what it's going to look like before we send it out of our SDI or NDI.
So Andy, if I have, let me build this out real quick. So I've got an active speaker, which I'm going to assign from that Zoom ISO 2 or Zoom ISO 1. Here we go. Sorry, bear with me. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is the active speaker can't see those scopes and everything, and more importantly, the framing things.
You'd have to capture that window separately.
Because right now it seems like the workflow is, let's say I have you. Well, here I can just do it this way. So let's say I've got you, and I'm gonna close this.
Don't forget about unique speaker, by the way. That's very useful. Oh, hey, my eyes line up. Jonathan, it's not, the eyes aren't too low. Or maybe it's just my eyes are too low.
I guess what I'm asking is though, so in this current workflow, you're there, you have no control. Let me get rid of that because it makes you look silly. But I would have to say to you essentially, okay, hey, move a little to the right, move a little, as opposed to you seeing yourself and being able to make self-adjustments.
For now, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's talk of, okay, what would output effects look like on the return channel? That'll be a later consideration for us. Truth is, most lay people are not going to be able to read a vector scope and have no idea what that means. And so there is usually best practice to have a producer interpreting the requests, distilling them, and asking for the minimum amount of cognitive load on the guest for what to adjust. So much easier to say, hey, just can you sit a little more straight? And granted, showing some of the graphics and help with like framing and things like that, but for color correction and stuff like that, probably best.
And I can clarify as well, just going back to the interface, the controls you see at the bottom of that output effects are just scopes and overlays for you personally to see in your interface. Everything on the right-hand panel, that is actually adjusting the video output when you click apply. So we've separated those two for now to show you what's local versus what is applied to the video. But as Andy mentioned, in the future, we are considering some additional options. We definitely want a lot of feedback on the output effects page. I mean, this is an entirely new workflow that we're offering. This is the first time that Zoom ISO is going beyond clean feeds into touching those pixels in a stronger way. So please give us your feedback and feature requests.
I'm trying to get the audio meters working, and I think I'm doing it wrong. Can you walk us through getting the audio connected up here?
The embedded audio meters or the advanced audio meters?
Okay, well maybe so. Let's start with what's the difference. So what I'm looking at the ISO. So right now I'm on the video outputs tab.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing the meters jumping by.
What have you set your embedded audio setting to?
Probably nothing.
Yeah, if it's off, then
so
you don't have any
embedded audio.
coming out.
I have mixed audio
Okay.
right now.
Yeah. If you're able to show us, that would be great.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So I've got mixed
Okay. Sorry,
audio.
David. Let's go over to video outputs tab instead of audio
Yes,
outputs
sir.
tab. And let's go over to my video, for example, my output, and set that to ISO. Okay. Have you joined computer sound with this Zoom ISO instance?
Yes.
If you
But
can look
I
at
bet
the
you
underlying client.
Yeah, or
underlying
if you
client,
go,
yeah.
if you take a look at the joins, at the join tab inside of your controls here, you might be
Oh,
able to see
you
it
know
there
what?
as
Wait a
well.
second. Sorry, I'm in here too many times. So maybe now.
Yeah, because you have to join audio in order for us to get any audio.
Yeah. So I think I'm in now. I think I've joined audio, but I bet you that's okay.
Yeah.
Feedback loop.
Feedback. You know what? I'm gonna for just a moment. I'm gonna leave with Zoom OSC because I'm getting confused. Let's jump out of this. Goodbye, Zoom OSC. Okay. So
So
now,
so you should be able to see just the Zoom ISO Zoom window, and then the bottom left of it. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
there it is.
Yeah, nice.
I was not in the meeting with audio. Sorry.
Great. And then if you go
Okay.
to the video outputs tab as well, David,
Yep.
you should see them there too. Yeah.
And I want to make clear too, because it can be a little bit
Whoa.
confusing.
Uh-oh.
Did you force quit? You force quit the OSC. Yeah.
Sorry.
That you're going to see your isolated audio or your embedded audio outputs on the advanced audio page, as well as any additional devices that you've added there. So don't get confused about that. If you want to go back to your advanced audio page there real quick, David.
The audio outputs tab. Yeah. So you're going to see a device created automatically for everywhere that you've embedded the audio. This is a big improvement for us because before you would go to the audio tab, but you wouldn't actually see a summary of all the audio coming out of the app. You would only see the additional devices. So this time now you have one page where you can see, okay, I've got audio on my NDI feeds for 1 and 2, and then I have this additional audio device where I've got some more stuff going on. So you have all of it in one place to be able to see.
It's great. Fantastic. Fantastic. It is almost 4 o'clock. I want to be respectful of your time, but I don't know. Any other questions? Any other? Let's see. Colin. Hey, Mike, do you want to read these questions from Colin?
Sure. Yeah. As people are bringing more questions in. Yeah. So Colin was first. He was asking about as a licensed enhanced media add-on user and Zoom ISO user, what do I need to do to use it with any Zoom meeting? I.e., if a client sets up a call, what permissions do I need to record their output?
Okay. So from a license perspective and a technology perspective, you need to download Zoom ISO version 3 on Monday, have an enhanced media account, sign in, it will activate the product, and then that product can join any meetings that the signed in user is allowed to join. So if your customer has allowed you to join their meetings or you registered, then Zoom ISO signed in as you will be able to join that meeting and it will be licensed as it joins across accounts. Then to record, you need to turn on the capture engine just like you do in V2 today. So you got to get either live streaming or recording permission. And then you start the recording feature from the top menu bar and you can start recording files from that. So the license is for you and then it travels with you to the different places that you go. Your end customer does not have to license the liminal tools for you to use it on their account. They can, but it's you hold the license and you bring it to the place that they're going. Notably, if you want the enhanced media features to apply to the meeting in terms of the 60 FPS and all that, that is based on the meeting owner account. So if you want 60 FPS and you're on your client's meeting, the client has to have the enhanced media license for that purpose. But if you're licensing the tools can join any account that you are set up to be able to join.
Right. And Colin also had a follow up, which was, will the Zoom client be locally configurable to select 30 frames a second or 60 frames?
Yes and no. So yes, the output can be set to 2398, 24, 25, 2997, 30, 5994, and 60. There's a long list that's in there at different resolutions. That's all configurable. What Zoom is going to do is at 1080p, if 60 FPS is on and the participant supports it, it's going to send it at 60 FPS. And the premise of Zoom ISO is Zoom is going to give you variable frame rate and variable resolution, and Zoom ISO is going to scale it and reclock it to always match the exact frame rate and resolution that the output is asking for. So if you want to record at 30, what the participant is doing variable frame rate around 60, it'll drop roughly half the frames and record it at 30. And vice versa, right? If you want to record at 60, but there's a participant who just can't get there, their webcam, is a built-in laptop camera or whatever, doesn't get to 60, that's fine. Zoom ISO will repeat frames as necessary to hit the clock on sending all the files so they're all together the same way.
Great.
For-
Colin, so if Colin has any follow-ups, let me know in chat and I'll bring that in. Go ahead, David.
Real quick, I just wanted to share that. So if when you purchase this license, I just want to share how easy it is to move it around. If you do have multiple accounts, you literally just go into your user management, users, pick the user, and then you can see right here, if I uncheck this and then check it in my other user account, it's moved over. It's that simple.
Yeah, David, but a warning from Zoom would be don't do it too many times in 1 month. Otherwise, their little
Correct.
policeman
Correct. Yes.
app will think that you're trying to beat the system.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So I just want to, before your question, I just want to go to David's from YouTube. And David was asking, enhanced media, is this applicable to Zoom Room CAV? And I'm assuming Andy knows what CAV means.
Custom AV. Yeah.
There you go. So that is your question. Is it applicable? So is the enhanced media applicable to Zoom Room CAV?
Yes.
It sure is.
Starting on 7.0 when that comes out, right?
Yeah, I can give just a little more context on that, David. So we have released some features already for Zoom Rooms that match enhanced media. The ability to do some of the higher quality sharing did go out with the previous update. But as Andy mentioned, the 7.0 update scheduled to go out this weekend will bring Zoom Rooms to be fully supporting enhanced media. And I want to be clear on this too. That's not just custom AV Zoom Rooms. So yes, the custom AV Zoom Rooms outputs, just like Zoom ISO, will handle the higher quality inputs and outputs. The Zoom Room will be able to support multiple cameras on the input side that go up to 1080-60 as well with the high bitrate. So you can have a single Zoom Room with up to 4 cameras at 1080-60 high bitrate. All of this will have additional support articles and documentation for the, as you can imagine, the expanded requirements for those Zoom Rooms. And we will also have more information about which Zoom Rooms will be able to and which ones will not handle the enhanced media capabilities. So a deep rabbit hole to go down on that, but the overall story is yes, enhanced media is designed for Zoom Rooms, not just on event production side, but any Zoom Room space where you want to have the higher quality. It's an excellent companion license to your existing experience.
Cool. Yeah, because David was also concerned about it because he says, is it a hardware constraint or is it a simple back-end flip switch? So I think the answer is it's a back-end flip switch of sorts.
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
hardware
It's a
also
bit of
has to
both.
support it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you install Zoom Rooms on a, Intel Atom, from a decade ago, you're probably not going to get the best experience, right?
That's right. And just to be clear as well, it is not account wide. So just like enhanced media applied to a user license, you can apply it to specific Zoom Rooms, specific users. It is not a switch you have to turn on for your entire account.
Yeah. But if you assign the license to the room and somebody walks into the room and hits new meeting, that room is the owner of the meeting and the features apply in that situation.
That's right.
Sweet. And he's also saying lastly, is this an open beta and how do we get feedback to Zoom?
Assuming
AKA
that
you
this
guys.
is the for Zoom ISO v3. So enhanced media is not a beta. That's fully GA'd and available. So any questions about enhanced media, contact your Zoom account rep. On Monday, Zoom ISO v3 will go into open beta. And any questions on that, info@liminalet.com. And we will receive that feedback there.
Cool. So that's
Hey.
all I've got for questions right now on YouTube. Who was that?
Well,
David, was that you? Go ahead.
So we're going Robert and Hasbeck in here, but before we do that, I just want to say that we did get a comment from Guy Cochran, who just wants to say thank you for bringing enhanced media and liminal apps to the market.
Oh, thank you, Guy. Appreciate it.
Yes.
And
Robert.
can I generically say that if you are sending information to info@liminal, say which version you're using, please.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. And we have all these new log features now too that you can save the logs to a file and send them to us. So it's much easier now for us to support you by saving more information that you can provide in a support ticket. So yeah, rich information along with the requests helps us help you.
Great. Let's get this some last questions in for you guys. Robert, go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say when you guys brought out tiles and the graphics toolkit, I was like a kid playing in a sandpit, just couldn't stop playing with them. But this time I'm just speechless. There's nothing to say here because there's so much to do, and I admire you guys and thank you for doing all of this work and making it available for us. It's brilliant.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Yeah, sorry to ruin your next week.
That's great. Hasmik, go ahead.
Yeah, I just taught my producer to work with Zoom ISO, and I'm going to have to retrain him. When we download on Monday, is the documentation also updated, guys?
Yes, there will be an updated documentation that goes through all the buttons. Yeah, there'll be a basically a PDF that will walk through everything there. Yeah, and a new web page and all that stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Next up, let's go. Colin's got one more. Colin is actually from you, asking from YouTube. Can you speak to what the optimal image settings would be, i.e., no virtual background, full screen, etc.?
Okay, so enhanced media will work with, depending on the computer. Believe it will support virtual backgrounds. It also importantly supports the touch up my appearance feature at 60 FPS and high bitrate. So for some people, there was a concern saying, I don't want to dial the bitrate up because I use the fact that there's compression to hide, things going on with my face. And the good news is you can still get the better motion and the better detail in your clothing and your background by pushing the bitrate up, but you can use the touch up my appearance features at the same time to smooth out your face or, deal with skin tone things, whatever it is you're using those features for. So they work at the same time. So that's great. So if you're self-conscious about that stuff or you're, that's something that's on your mind, I'd recommend using the touch up my appearance feature to get the same net result while still being able to improve your frame rate and other parts of your image quality without using compression as a filter is probably not the best way to do that. Full screen, etc. Couple of things there. If you're in speaker view, and just talking about a normal Zoom meeting here, full screen speaker view is how you get 1080p in a normal meeting environment. But there's now an exception to that, which is if you have the enhanced media feature for 4K gallery view and you're on a 4K monitor, you can go to gallery view and up to 4 1080p participants will show in a quad in the gallery at that point. And so you can get 1080p that way. And actually at 5 onward at different permutations of the gallery, the quality will be one rung up from where it had been before. So 4 at 1080p, I think it's like 9 at 360p or 720p, blah, blah, blah. Goes all the way down to 49 at 180p thumbnails. So those all move up if you have that new feature.
Before Peter jumps in here, just real quick. So I just opened up the YouTube feed, and it's clear to me that YouTube is doing some there's some compression happening over there also, maybe.
Yes.
Like from Zoom
Let's
to
talk about
YouTube?
that a little bit. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Couple of things. If you're using just streaming from Zoom, none of the enhanced media stuff is going to apply to that YouTube feed. And YouTube is also going
Really?
to compress on top of that. Yeah. So cloud recording and live streaming directly through Zoom's built-in encoder, that encoder and that recorder, those do not pass enhanced media right now.
What about the live streaming app?
That still uses the live streaming encoder
Still
on
uses,
Zoom.
okay.
So now, if you are sitting in Ecamm or vMix, what would I do? I don't know about Ecamm, but vMix just published their plugin last night to support enhanced media. I have to check back with the Ecamm team to see what their timeline looks like. But let's assume you have
it's
it.
live.
Okay,
Ecamm's it's already live in Ecamm.
So if it's there and you've got it running, what I would so a lot of people don't know this. YouTube works very hard to figure out who is serious and who is more casual when it comes to live streaming on their platform. And they have some heuristics for how they measure this because they want to spend the infrastructure on the people who care and then optimize for the people who don't care. And this is all anecdotal from what we've heard from different reps from YouTube on their own live streams and some hidden knowledge from office hours and stuff like that that you might be able to piece together. But just to summarize it, there's two things that YouTube is looking for to decide whether or not to stream high bitrate VP9 to the viewer. And one of them is the resolution. So if you do anything more than 1080p, they're going to say, okay, this person's playing hard, and they're going to stream it at a high bitrate VP9 profile. And that's going to preserve more quality. The other thing they'll look at is what codec are you using? Because they're just like, okay, if you just cracked open OBS and you're sending RTMP with H.264, that's what most people are doing. If you stream them AV1, or I think there might be one or two other codecs in there, but AV1's the one I remember. They'll also be like, oh, this person's serious, and they will spend more bitrate on the YouTube stream. So my recommendation is if you are streaming with enhanced media and you want the end viewer to see all the quality from the remote guest, stream at 60 FPS. Because if you just stream to YouTube at 30 and Zoom is sending you 60, then the viewer's not going to see the benefit, right? So stream at 60 and then either stream in AV1 or stream at like 1440p. And the enhanced sharpness and bitrate will pass through from Zoom to the end viewer rather than it being compressed during the final encode that YouTube does between your live stream and the viewer's viewing box. So those are some tips to try to get the best performance out of that.
That's great. That's really great feedback. Thank you. Peter and Muddy, go for it. Peter.
So back when you released the Zoom tiles, there was this strange little sentence in the middle of the documentation that says, stay away from Tahoe. Are there any lurkers here now?
So we've tested this on Tahoe. There definitely are peculiarities between the macOS versions as developers for us. We've tried to address them. So one thing is you'll notice that the style for the app is different between Tahoe and older operating systems. So and David was actually kind of showing you this before. You may not have even realized it. My top
I
menu
was
bumper
wondering
here-
about the names at the top.
Yeah, my layout here on Sequoia is different than what you're seeing. You can see that I have an icon and a name, and the settings panel looks different as well than it does on Tahoe. Maybe if David wants to share his,
Yeah,
you
I'm
can see there's some style
bringing it up.
differences
Give me
there.
1 second here.
The other thing we've noticed is that AV Asset Writer on macOS Tahoe has something going on with segmented recording. So we're using FFmpeg for the stream muxer on Tahoe instead of AV Asset Writer. End user experience is identical, but if you were to FF probe, you would see that there are some differences between the files just in the way that they're designed.
But nothing from general usage.
No. But I guess what I'm saying is that it wouldn't surprise me if there were. But there are no. We are intending to support Tahoe in this release, but it is a beta release, and so we're looking for feedback and observations.
Okay, and then the second question, if I may, is if you select one of the key differences between the regular Zoom client, the standard, what everyone normally uses, and the current Zoom ISO client, if you happen to select a DeckLink card as your camera, it gives me every possible combination that DeckLink card can do. And I have to find the 1080p 30 or 1080p 60. Whereas the Zoom client, the standard Zoom client, just says DeckLink 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
This has been addressed in the latest Zoom meeting SDK, so it'll look fine.
Okay.
Muddy, I think you wanted to jump in. Are you still able to, Muddy?
I am.
Great.
As long as you can, again, completely blown. Like dragging
We
ground.
You
we
can
need
try.
enhanced
Tired
internet
mode.
for Muddy. We need enhanced internet for Muddy.
I just wanted to point out, enhanced media, even when someone's connecting from a phone, you can still get 1080p. So
Yeah, that's right. That's right. This is by design, right? He hopped in the car to put the theory. Very good. Yeah, you're right. I can see my statistics page right now. I can see that I'm getting 1080p 60 from who is this? Peter and Tlaloc and Robert all right now. Yeah. So that's the ladder encoding piece of enhanced media. Yeah.
Which I
Roland.
find interesting. You're getting it from me because I know my camera is only capable of 1080p 30.
Yeah, it's lying to Zoom then. It's telling it must be somewhere it's saying it support. And this is, by the way, this is one thing you got to look at with these webcams and these different capture cards that you're setting up. A lot of especially I'm not saying this is the case for Peter, but if you go to Amazon and you find a cheap webcam that says it supports 60 FPS or supports 4K, it might report to your operating system that it does, but the underlying sensor and the logic there might just be repeating frames or might just be stretching, a smaller image up. So there is a recommendation to really take a look at, and we're working with our hardware certification team as well to make sure that Zoom certified cameras aren't doing those kind of things.
Yeah.
But that's something that you can look out for.
In my case, I'm sure it's because the camera is going into an ATEM and then the ATEM is feeding 60 out.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But the high bitrate looks nice. Yeah. There was a question from Roland. Yeah, the minimum system
minimum
requirements.
system requirements for ISO v3.
Yeah, so Apple Silicon only. So in ISO v2, we said we only supported Apple Silicon as well. We actually did compile it for Intel, and we give you a warning, and we would say, look, we don't support this, but if you need to, you can do whatever you want anyway. We're not doing that for v3. We did that for v2 because Apple hadn't completed the transition to Apple Silicon yet. It was only on the M1 series, and it was pretty close to the last line of Intel's. So we thought, okay, you're on your own, but you can do it. V3, Apple Silicon transition has been completed for years. Performance is there. We don't need to support those legacy packages. So we've cut the ability to open the app on Intel. And we need that because we need with all the things we're doing with Metal and all the other things there, and the H.264, H.265 encodes on the Apple Silicon chips, which are different than how it was handled in QuickSync on Intel. Those were intentional changes. So you need to have Apple Silicon or later, but we will support M1 and forward from a system requirement perspective when you launch the app. Operating system versions: macOS Sonoma, macOS Sequoia, and macOS Tahoe. For Liminal, our goal is 3 versions of macOS in a sliding window. So at some point, we'll drop Sonoma and support 27. That will happen probably in the fall or early next year, depending on how Apple rolls their stuff out and what that looks like for end users. But our goal is to have a sliding window of support for 3 versions of macOS. In terms of performance, like I said, we're going to finish some of the work that we're doing now before we go back and do all of our benchmarking again. What we're seeing is that if you run Zoom ISO v3 with equivalent features to Zoom ISO v2, i.e. list view, 1080p 30, no output effects, etc., performance is within 5 to 10% of ISO v2 on equivalent hardware. When you start cranking up in-app previews and higher scaling and other stuff like that, then that's when we're going to recommend newer chips. M4 Mac Mini being a pretty solid recommendation at this point. It's kind of a Swiss Army knife. It's kind of unbelievable, to be honest with you, how much you can do on that machine. And it's the cheapest device that Apple sells new. So if you're looking at a new device, M4 Mac Mini would be a great choice based on the preliminary information that we're seeing. But it is our intention to rebenchmark everything across all the chips that we have access to. One final note, if you're thinking about the MacBook Neo, or you're thinking about even the MacBook Air, these are passively cooled systems, which means that their performance may degrade under sustained load for a long period of time. And this is a little bit insidious because you might download it, test it for 5-10 minutes, everything looks great. The A18 that's in the Neo seems to benchmark between an M1 and an M2, depending on single core versus multi-core. But it's not actively cooled. So as heat accumulates in the chassis, the performance may degrade. And if you're running a long extended workload, like a hour-long recording in Zoom ISO v3, that's the kind of thing where I become concerned about the long-term capacity. So compatible, yes. Recommended, probably not. Passively cooled systems, proceed at your own risk, right? But I'm thinking about actively cooled MacBook Pros. I'm thinking about Mac Minis. In our experience, the Ultras have been overkill. We don't necessarily see any performance benefit from an I/O perspective from doing like a Mac Studio Ultra versus a Max chip. We're just the kind of work, the nature of the work that we're doing doesn't benefit from all that additional infrastructure. But your Pros and your Maxes and even your base level chips on the newer generations should get you access to plenty of I/O for this. We do set the output cap, by the way, to 16 in Zoom ISO v3 versus 100 in v2. In v2, it was kind of like, yeah, we let the slider go to 100, but you're going to blow up your computer before you get there. This one, we've done more optimization around the 16 because of the video previews and stuff like that. So we don't want you rendering 100 video previews in the app at the same time and things like that, because we know that will be a problem. So we're guarding you a little bit there. Open to feedback on that if there was somebody who had a good workflow that needed more than 16, but with tiles around now too, it's like you're going to do more than that. Probably doing something that you should probably think about with tiles. So.
Andy, I'm not sure if you're allowed to say, but I'm curious if the early beta has been shared with any like broadcast media types, and if they've given you any feedback on it.
I can't name names, but yes, and a lot of the things around what we've done to prepare the signal for broadcast has been encouraged by conversations that we had last year with broadcasters who are trying to retire lots of equipment that is used to process that signal to get it to air. So you can cut out literally millions of dollars of color correction equipment from a broadcast rack by just having these features built into the software. At this point in time, most broadcasters that you see are using Zoom to bring in remote guests. We don't require attribution though. So you only occasionally will you see the via Zoom logo. That was different for Skype. Skype required mandatory attribution. We don't require attribution. Exceptions to that are broadcasters who have brand deals. So there's a big one that I'm aware of that has a paid sponsorship of that news network to show their logo. But for most operations that the engineers are in charge of what they're doing, we're happy to say that they're using our stuff for that. So that's great. But we have no attribution on that stuff.
That's wonderful. Colin is asking, what was the mindset behind applying EMA licensing to individuals as opposed to accounts?
EMA licensing. Enhanced media. Yeah, it's a user level license. So it's per owner. So it's like there's a bunch of add-ons at Zoom that work this way. A large meeting add-on is the same. So it's consistent with the rest of our add-on licensing. It's not an account level. It's not like the difference between a pro and a business and stuff like that. It's an add-on license that is assignable to a individual user. And this is important because we didn't want to there's a lot of organizations, especially at scale, that do not want the entire workforce to be able to push up all these things and blow up all their network infrastructure. So having it on a per user basis is actually helpful for them so they can shape access and control at the user admin and group policy level. So yeah, much more granular.
Maybe we'll let you go after this unless someone else pops up. But I'm curious about liminal. If you could, I don't know if you can talk about this, but I'm curious about how liminal has stayed somewhat separate, at least in name, from Zoom. Support kind of lives over there. Is that eventually just going to become part of Zoom? Is this going to become, Zoom broadcast as opposed to Zoom regular, or?
Mm-hmm. I can give you a little bit of color on that. One of the things that was important to us during the acquisition was that we didn't follow the pattern of a lot of other tool acquisitions. I'm not going to name names, but you can think of probably several of these, where it's a buy up, the thing goes end of life the following week, and maybe a couple years down the line, some of the features from those products that you liked happen to appear somewhere else in the platform if you're lucky. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to allow people to continue to use the tools the way that they were familiar with using them, with the domain experts who were working on those things continuing to directly own them in separate clients all the way down the line. And then what we found over the years is, all right, now we can intersect with a certain product line where it makes sense, like we've done with events, taking the lessons from a lot of the liminal tools and apply them in custom AV for Zoom rooms. We've also, from our perspective, we're totally embedded. It's from your perspective, the brand and the website and all that stuff and some of that old infrastructure has been kept around and maintained so that the experience to you is the same, even though behind the scenes, it's all one coherent development process and ownership process. But we did that intentionally. And then we've been slowly moving things around, right? So getting rid of the legacy licensing system and the keys, which did not scale well for people, which was always a pain point in our support team, to licensing through your Zoom account. So it just signs in and activates and it's part of that. So the enhanced media ties on with that, makes it really clean, bundles in with licenses you already are using. Those have been improvements that we've made over time. There's a bunch of support articles that you've seen in this release as well on the Zoom website. So like how to license with enhanced media is a Zoom support article, right? So there's, those are on their website. So our CDNs and downloads and backend APIs and infrastructure are hosted on Zoom technology now. So that's migrating. So it is a migration, but we've intentionally made this a slow migration to try to make sure that we didn't disrupt, well, to the extent that we could control it, because you can't control everything, but the things that we could do, we try to make it as good as we can and make sure that when stuff lights up, like we don't take stuff as best as possible off the liminal side until there's a version on the Zoom side that's ready for the same thing to take over where it makes sense. So we're pretty consistent with that.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Jonathan, Andy, Tlalak, thank you so much for being here and giving us these unbelievable tools. We're really so grateful to you and everything that you do, and as always for being present with us and allowing us to pick your brains and learn directly from the source. We appreciate you.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Great to be with you guys. Have fun checking this out next week, and looking forward to being back
Oh,
soon.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
All
We're gonna have a
right.
lot of busy people on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend,
Have a
guys.
great weekend. Thanks, everybody.
You got
Bye-bye.
it.
Bye.
You got it. Wow, amazing. Yeah, I've been able to play with the closed beta a little bit, and it really is beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. But that's not the only thing that's beautiful. Zoom itself has a lot of new stuff now. Starting with, I don't even remember what the old one looked like. The participants panel. I'm gonna try and I hope I didn't update this Zoom. Let me see if I updated this one. Zoom am I on here? About Zoom Workplace. Ah, I updated this one too. Okay, I don't have an old Zoom, but now on our participants panel, which I'll bring over here and then show you all. This is our participants panel. We now have these persistent mute and video buttons, and you can see the state right there. If I remember correctly, help me remember, guys. You have to click here.
I'll put a picture in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you
you had to
click
click on the
cursor,
three. You had to click on the three dots, and then you'd get your choice of what to do.
Right. I mean, this works for me. I can mute him right there. Sorry, Peter.
I guess
Here
one of
we
the
go.
advantages of having it like this now, David, is that by the time you've clicked more and on the user and moved across, someone's put their hand up and he's moved across and you miss him.
No, wait a second, Tamara. This looks exactly like what I have now.
No, you've got 3 things at the bottom. Mine only has 2.
Right, but am
So
I
it's-
crazy that we didn't have? Did we always have the mute button and the stop video buttons popped out?
We did. Yours actually has less. So when hold on. When I'm looking at it, like that's all there is. But I
Yeah,
don't know
but
because
Tamara,
I'm not hosted, so I don't know if it's the same or not.
you're the host, David. You can mute and
Right.
unmute people. Tamara can't.
Yeah. But we did have those in the last one because I didn't upgrade this computer because I still need
So
my green
what
shield.
changed then? Because remember there was a big thing about this change. In fact, I have the notes over here. Remember they were saying this was gonna change. Let's see. In meeting, here we go. So apparently users can access detailed information about participant statuses through enhanced tooltip functionality in the participant list. The previous hover behavior, I understand. The previous hover behavior that displayed large mute and more buttons has been replaced with persistent layout where status icons remain visible. So in yours, Tamara.
Yeah, I can't hover over anybody. Here's what I can get. I'll show you what I get.
I'm not understanding this.
Hover over someone's name.
Yeah.
Like hover over Mike. What happens when you hover over Mike?
Nothing for me.
Nothing. For
Absolutely
me,
nothing.
when I hovered, it gave me this.
Hey David, Rohit here. So I think the three dots are not a permanent button in the old version, where if you go on the video button in the older version, you get a drop down menu, which is permanently kept here in the three dots. So you used to have two permanent or persistent buttons in the old version. Right now, you have three persistent or permanent buttons.
Right. Right. Okay.
That's what
I
I
thought
get
I was
when
gonna.
I click on him. Do you get different
All right,
information?
wait. Let me see. Hold on. Let me open up my chat. Where's the chat?
You have to click on the icon. So click.
So when you,
So when I hover over his picture, the little
yeah,
icony picture,
No, I get that
two
too.
things, but you get more than I get.
Well, that's probably because he and I are no. It's because he and I are connected.
Okay, so try someone else that isn't connected to you.
Yeah,
Oh, then
I
it's the
get the
same.
same thing you get.
Okay,
Right.
well then I don't know what
But
it is.
that's not the hovering. The hovering was over here. So each status icon shows descriptive tooltips when hovered, indicating the current state or available actions such as muted or video on. Right. Okay. So mute and stop video. I understand that. But the previous hover behavior that displayed large mute and more buttons has been replaced with a persistent layout where status icons remain visible. That's the part I don't understand, because in your image of the old version, the status icons are still persistent.
They're persistent, but if
there.
you look at if I hovered over Mike's name, I get a more as opposed to when you hovered over.
Oh, right.
See, I get more, and then when I click on more as a the
Right.
only thing I can do with him is chat. If I were host, then that would show me all of
Right.
his information. So if you look at yours, when you just
So
did
when
it,
you so you couldn't okay. You could not click on the mute button. You
Right.
couldn't take okay, that thank
Yeah.
you. So
I
that's
can
the difference.
take
So now
action if I am host, but it's in the more thing, I think. I think I have to
Right.
click on that, and then I don't think I can just click him off. I don't know. I can't remember now. I feel like I click people on and off all the time when I'm host.
And Tamara, I ended up getting your image.
I know I sent it to you
Someone
by
ha-
accident, and then I copied it and sent it over there.
Okay.
Someone help us out. So in the old, has anyone not updated yet? In the old version, can you take actions on, well, actually, Tamara, let me just make you a co-host.
Make me co-host, and then I'll see what I can do. Because I did keep it on this machine because I like my little thing.
So she's now co-host. So we're going to see.
What I get instead, when I hover over, I get asked to unmute, and then I get a more button. And the more button here, I'll make a little screen capture again.
Okay. So the difference is that now on the new version, you can take actions right from here.
Yeah.
So I can just click on these and it'll take, so I can mute Tamara from right here, or I actually can't unmute, but I can, if I click it, I asked her to unmute.
Rude.
Sorry. And then I've got the, so there's no more button and then take your actions from there. Okay. So that's nice.
That is nice. Okay. That's making me almost want to upgrade. I just miss my being able to get to that bigger panel. And
Tamara, but if you go across onto my user, I've switched my mic on because you can't, as a co-host, mute David's mic, but you can mine, surely.
not in the old one. I can only am I still co-host? I can chat, I can ask to start video, I can pin to first screen.
No, but don't you get a mute button?
Oh, I do get a mute button.
Specifically for me.
Yeah.
Yes, I can mute you. And
you
then
get it. She gets a mute button, but you don't get that over here. You just click on the microphone.
Exactly. That's the difference.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And you have tooltips instead of the text. Yeah.
Okay, well that's nice. I like that feature.
No, it is nice.
Give me one more reason to upgrade because I haven't, because I still like having access to my little shield.
Rohit. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just want to be able to get to that big. That's what I don't like about the new one, is that it only gives me the little panels
The
at a
setting
time.
stuff.
Yeah. That is the
Yeah.
reason I have not upgraded. So keep adding things, Zoom, so that I can be able to upgrade. But
Yeah.
I have it
Uh,
upgraded on all my other machines, just not my production machine.
Rohit is asking, this is a question I don't even understand. Maybe Muddy can unpack this for me. I'm trying to subscribe to Zoom events, but the system is blocking me by asking for a CIN number. As a sole proprietor, I only have a PAN and GST, no CIN. Could you let me know how to bypass the CIN requirement or what alternative info I should provide to finish the sign up?
Sounds like a Canadian GST.
Yeah,
So
Rohit's
yeah.
based. Rohit, you're based in India, correct?
Yes. So
So explain a
what
little more,
happened?
please.
Yeah. So what happened was, so I have a Zoom, a regular license, a yearly license. I had signed up with my business ID, and so when I wanted to subscribe to Zoom events, it didn't let me upgrade to Zoom events. It said you need a CIN number, but as a sole proprietor, we just have a PAN and a GST. So these are all tax numbers in India. So only when you go into a LLP or a private limited company do we get CIN. The
Right.
loophole to this is I actually use my Gmail ID or any other personal ID and subscribe to Zoom without adding my business. So then when I go into and subscribe for my Zoom events, I am able to get it without a CIN number. It's just that my primary Zoom license, since I've registered as business, it's mandatorily asking me for my CIN number. The downside to it is I just resubscribed to Zoom license like a month back. So I still have 11 months left to it. So I would just need to subscribe to Zoom twice now.
Right. And just for everybody on YouTube, so Rohit, based in India, that is specific to India, the SIN necessity. Go ahead, Money.
Rohit, great to hear from you, man. Great to see you on here. Rohit's awesome. Rohit was actually the very first person in India using Zoom ISO and Zoom OSC back in the original version. He's been
so
ahead of the curve since day one.
Yeah, I was the first person to get it when it was liminal, yeah, and worked with Muddy on it as well, yeah.
So I don't know the specific answer around the business licensing component, and it seems a little unusual to me because I don't remember going through that process, having to provide an EIN when I subscribed. But my question is the rationale for getting Zoom events, is it so that you can get access to these liminal tools, which I have done in the past with a pay-per-user license, but I'm not actually using Zoom events. I host my events through Avio. But now with enhanced media add-on, I don't need to go through Zoom events at all in the future if I'm not using the Zoom events feature. Now, there's some cool stuff in there, but if really the goal is to get access to the liminal tools, you won't need that in the future. And in fact, I think one of the benefits about using it through the enhanced media add-on is that should automatically update. Whereas, as several of us experienced, if you were on a pay-per-user account, when you got to the end of your year, it dropped to 0, but no notification. And luckily I didn't get bit by it, but I could have very easily. So in any case, that's as we're talking around liminal apps, it occurred to me like you might not even need Zoom events if you're not going to use the platform. But if you are going to use the platform, I don't know how to solve
So I've been on and off in this test kitchen because it's always 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. here in India. But yeah, so last time Robert and David had suggested to get exactly what you said, Muddy, the pay-per-view with the minimum 50 packs, just so that you log in through that to any of your Zoom events, or not Zoom events, Zoom meetings or webinars, to use your tiles and the ISO app. But yeah, let me connect with you to understand how to not use this with the enhanced version which is coming up. Yeah.
There is in the chat, Frank gave us the AI overview, but these look like CIN lookups. I'm not sure that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I didn't know what CIN stood for. That was the part I was trying to figure out. So
Yeah.
it's their
Yeah.
corporate identification number.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely surprised, Rohan, that if you signed up with your business account that they're requiring some sort of business identifier.
I would contact billing and just ask them to help.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Actually, I am
this-
quite surprised, to tell you the truth, David, because if you have a business account, you've already set up all of your company details in that. So why on earth is it asking you for all these
Oh,
additional
because
details?
this is just a right. I'm sorry. You're right. I would expect it to ask for that business info when you're creating your account, but not once you've done that and you're just getting add-ons or events. Yeah.
So while I subscribed, it asked for my GST number because so GST is nothing like it's a goods and services tax number, which we have in India, I think similar to VAT in different places. So I had put that and got my business license. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd reach out to Zoom support. I would absolutely do that.
Perfect.
Billing specifically.
Yeah,
Billing,
more
yep.
specifically, sales support. Yeah.
One of the other things that dropped in 7.0 is where is God? You know what? I have to say I do not like this the new more grid. I cannot see it at all. Looking for screen share, and I literally it's down here. Okay, wasn't in there. So now on screen share, if I go like this, now I should be able to share. I have 3 tabs open. I've got Zoom, I've got the test kitchen, and I've got Liminal. And it said that I can share tabs individually without.
David, just FYI, are you running enhanced media right now?
Yes.
Reminder that what Andy was talking about, where it's very fuzzy right now for us to read what you're doing when you're sharing.
Well, I haven't even shared anything yet. I'm not sharing yet.
Oh, that's right. That's your screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it says here, users can share an individual Chrome or Edge. Oh, I opened all this up in Safari. That's the problem. Without revealing their other open tabs. All right. Well, that's not going to work because I don't have Chrome or Edge on here.
Very important to always remember that Zoom in the background is Chromium based, where Safari is not.
No, it's not.
Not to worry, David. We played with this last week, remember? So we've actually gone through it.
Did we actually see it last week? Because it wasn't out yet, though.
Yep, you showed it to us.
Yeah. I'm just that good.
Mighty, what are you showing us? Should I bring that?
Well, I was just
Mighty
showing.
have?
I have the.
Oh, thank you.
I have the share window available, and actually, the very first time I opened it, actually, it's still there. A big banner at the top saying you can now share browser tabs. So I can go to browser tabs. It's now a new section down here at the bottom, right? So we've always had share whole screens, share windows, but now at the bottom we've got this new share tabs. Now let's see what happens when I actually click on the share. Yeah, it brings up a list of, I should not be actually sharing yet. I could see it's wanting to share, but it's a black screen yet. And it has brought up all of my Chrome tabs that I can choose between, right? So I could show just the BitFocus companion. And if I share that, now I'm just sharing one tab. And if I click the preview, I can see what you're seeing, and it's not showing any of the other tabs. It's just showing that tab.
That's great.
Can you just switch to a different tab while you're sharing one tab? Because that was the real enhancement that we were looking for.
Yeah, sure. So let me do that again. I will. So Do you mean while I am sharing a tab for myself, switch to a different tab? Because that tab that I was showing, it's not active right now. Like it is not an active tab for me. It's one of the ones that
No,
I'm
I
not
think he
looking
means
at.
change what you're sharing. Does that work seamlessly with tabs
That's
to
correct.
change the share?
Ah, okay. Yeah, let's give that a try. So again, I'll switch my camera back to that desktop. Look like Roland is working on sharing right now. I'm going to take over and I'll put that share screen here again and switch my camera to that screen. I'll come down here to browser tabs, click share. It's going to bring up a list of tabs. I'll share that companion tab. And now the question is, if I try to share something else, so I've got my floating window open, I click on share, that brings up the share dialog box again. And I can click on Chrome tabs again, open the share. Oh, it did not prompt me to choose a different tab. So if I click on share, I would have to probably choose a different window. Like I could share the release notes, which is the whole Chrome browser. And now if I click on share and go down here and choose Chrome tabs and click share, now I do get that picker again where I can choose.
That's a shame. So you can't switch tabs from that's a shame.
Now,
Maybe
what
that's to
happens
come.
if I pause? So right now you should be seeing, I have a slightly different, oh yeah, okay. You should be seeing, so I'm going to
We're still
pause
seeing
my share.
your release notes.
Oh, interesting. So it never did, even though I told it to share.
And now we're back
now
to
you're seeing it. Okay, I had to click
now
on.
we're back to bit focus.
I got a different window I hadn't seen before, like a kind of a preview window. I had to click on it. So I wonder if I pause my share. So my share is now paused. If I go back to the window and try to share a Chrome tab again, no, I still don't get the picker to choose a different tab.
Very interesting.
So just to summarize, what this is actually allowing you to do is to share one tab and then look at other tabs in that browser without actually sharing them.
Right.
And also give a cleaner share so that you're not people aren't seeing all your open tabs and all your bookmarks and whatever. Yeah.
I don't
Well, actually,
know.
that is an important distinction, Robert, because when I first started sharing that BitFocus companion tab, I was sharing it to the meeting, but it wasn't in focus for me. I had the release notes in the foreground, right? So I could still use my browser and use other tabs independent of what I was sharing to the meeting. And interestingly, when I shared the window, oftentimes you'll get kind of a box around showing what you were sharing. And I wonder if this will actually work to show this or not. Hopefully it won't go crazy, but I'm going to share a tab again and move my floating window out, show the BitFocus companion tab. And now I'm actually going to cut to it as my camera as well. And hopefully this doesn't go too crazy. It doesn't look like it's crazy. But what I wanted to point out is the box that I see is limited to inside the window, right? So that box ends right here. It doesn't show the URL bar and the other tabs up here at the top. So
right.
Muddy, while you're at this, can you click on some menu bar for this specific tab just to see if it's hovering on top of this? Like
click
a file
on,
or any of the
oh yeah, like if I were to bring a different window in and cover it, so a little bit like if I was showing like a portion of the window.
No, the same BitFocus.
Uh-huh.
You must have the menu bar on top, right? Like if you're using a map, you will have a menu bar on top which says Chrome file edit view. Just want to see if that covers this.
Good call. So I just opened the Chrome window, which I see on my screen, but I don't think you do, right?
One more thing we don't on YouTube.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we don't. And one more thing I noticed is the mouse pointer doesn't show. Oh, it's showing now. Okay, fine, perfect. It wasn't initially. Yeah, Perfect.
Is it showing on the screen share? Because I'm also,
Yes.
my camera feed
It's-
is also the
Yes,
share.
yes, we can see it on
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, good test.
But the screen share, like David said, is really clean. It's just a clean version of that tab without any of the accessories there. It's really nice.
And it defaults at 1080p, right? Whatever the size of the Chrome browser is.
Oh, that's a good question. So
That is a good question. Yeah.
let's, if someone wants to pull up the statistics, I'll share that window again, or I'll share it as a tab. So we'll do the same test. I'm going to share the workplace tab or the release notes. So I'm not quite in full screen. Actually, if I switch my camera back there, you'll see that I'm not quite in full screen.
Yeah.
So it should not be coming through quite at 1080p yet.
You know, it comes through at 1920 by 990.
But it's 1920, which is interesting because I'm not even, so let me maximize this window. So I'm now maximized, including the URL and other tabs. What does the screen share show now?
1920 by 940, which is interesting.
Okay, and if I go into full screen mode, so
19,
now,
1920 by 1028.
and there, I don't know if you can see.
So it's cropping the top and the bottom pixels. Yeah.
Well, what I have on my window is I have this little bar showing, if you looked at my camera feed,
Yeah.
you'll see I have this little bar up here at the top that says, it shows that I'm sharing this tab to Zoom.
That's not coming through on the share.
I know, I could tell because I could see the line here, but that's why it's not at 1080p either, because that bar
Right.
is taking up some pixels at the top. I have the option to stop sharing, but I don't, it doesn't look like I have the option to get rid of that bar. So interesting.
I think that's Zoom. That's Zoom's integration into it. Muddy would be my thought.
Yeah. So I've stopped the share. So of course it doesn't.
Yeah. Now it's
Yeah.
gone.
So, but I guess the what we learned in that test is whatever resolution I'm showing that tab on the screen is the resolution that comes through.
Right.
When I made that window larger on my monitor, it came through at a higher resolution.
Yeah, and of course, the better resolution of looking at a tab from browser, obviously, the text will be a lot more readable as well. Readable.
Muddy, can you just show one more thing, please? When you do go to when you press the share button, do you still have the option of sharing without sharing the desktop, but sharing the browser without a specific tab? Because I'll tell you why. Because I have a lot of financial clients who open multiple tabs, and during their presentations, they'll just click from tab to tab to show different views of.
Yep. So beyond, sharing the entire desktop, which I could, but if I show a browser window, so this is, this section now is application windows, and under application windows, I have this is my Chrome window. This is, and so if I click that and click share, now what you are seeing, and in fact, if I move that browser down here, you will see,
they're identical.
Yeah, but it is showing, I have this, I think it's green or yellow, I'm colorblind, but I have this boundary box around the whole thing showing that the whole thing is being shared. And right, if I were to switch back over to Companion, it would show, I can tell that you are seeing whichever tab I click on to show.
Yep. That's perfect.
Yeah, and as far as the YouTube feed is concerned too, we're seeing the tabs at the top this time around as well. So we're seeing the full browser.
Yeah, and I just maximized it to make it full screen. So actually, when you look at the resolution of the screen share, it should be coming through at 1920 by 1080.
Correct.
It did, yeah. But previously it was at 1540 / something. But yeah, when you went full screen on your camera and on your screen share, now it's at 1080p. Yeah.
Excellent.
Muddy, just as a matter of interest, thank you for that. I don't know if you were serious about being colorblind or not, but the frame that was around that window, it was green on the top left-hand corner, blue on the bottom left-hand corner. So it was difficult to say what color it was.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
good. That helps me.
But you were right, Muddy. There was definitely an outline when you were just within the when you chose the tab itself by itself. There was just an outline within that actual tab, letting the person know that this is it. This is all that's showing right now. If you want more than this, that's not what's sharing right now. And that's always important for people that are choosing the tab to make sure that that they understand that there is that difference between full browser versus just a tab. So Colin actually has a question. Are we still talking about sharing? If not, we can move on. Colin's got a question from us on YouTube. Let me know, panelists.
Go for it.
All right. All right. So Colin's asking, he says, do any of you plan to use 50 or 60 frames per second? I'm assuming the enhanced media add-on. With sharing with EMA, he's using the acronym, have any of you found a difference with optimized for video sharing between sharing a video from QuickTime, so Apple people, QuickTime app on screens tab, as opposed to the More tab? Does everybody understand what he's asking? First off, would be the question. No. All right. So Colin, we need a little more help, a little more, give us a little more data, a little more text.
I understand what he's
asking.
Money.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the so if I switch my camera back to this screen, when you are sharing, right, here's the first window, but you have options up at the top that include files and then more, which used to say advanced. Now under more, it now says advanced here, but this option of sharing video file, right? So this has been around for a little while, but this version of sharing a video file actually uploads that file to the Zoom cloud and then plays it from the Zoom cloud. So for a long time, this was really one of the recommended ways to get the highest resolution video play out in the system. I see you squinting your eyes, Mike.
Yeah, because that's what I use at the end of the show every week, and I'm not uploading. It doesn't upload for me. I'm playing it live. It ends up opening a video player locally.
Well, yes, your controls and your player are local, but the file itself is playing to the meeting. So, because when you click video file and choose the file, it is now uploading that file in the background to the Zoom cloud. So it is now, when you click the play button, it is kind of independent of your internet connection, because now it harnesses, and that's why it's better, because it harnesses the connectivity of the Zoom cloud rather than your live internet connection sending that to everyone, which is what will happen if you play a video. Like what I was doing when I cut to this, I'm showing a screen share as my video feed, right? I just have that going through my ATEM and I'm choosing that source, but it's just sending that as a camera feed. And then of course, if I shared a screen share and optimize for video sharing, so this is one of the, oh, I'm not showing it, but if I were to do a screen share and chose the application window of QuickTime, I'm on a PC at the moment, but if I were sharing one of these windows as my QuickTime player and I click this button for optimize for video sharing, ooh, this is new. I haven't seen this drop down before that shows I can choose different resolutions when I click optimize for video sharing. And this must be because we are in the enhanced, because this meeting was scheduled by a Zoom account that has the enhanced media. So I could choose 1080p 60 frames per second as my resolution to optimize for video sharing. But what, if you remember this option right here that says optimize for video sharing, normally what this means is that you are prioritizing frame rate over resolution. So it's going to give a smoother video. Even if it's slightly lower resolution, it's still a smoother video with more frame rates. If I do not have this selected, Zoom is optimizing for resolution at a lower frame rate. So if you were sharing static images like a PowerPoint slide deck or something like that, that's typically, you wouldn't want to turn that on because you would want to show all the resolution, even if it was sharing at 10 frames per second. But that's what this video does here. That's what that option does. Now, the root of the question is, have we compared and benchmarked the difference of optimized for video sharing versus that advanced option of using the share video under more?
Yeah, Money. I was taking a look at my account from here, being host right now, and did you actually have 60 frames a second available for sharing?
It did. Now I also have enhanced media on my account
Right.
that I'm logged into, but I did have that.
So
on.
the official answer at my end is I did not have the 60 frames choice. I only had the 30.
And you're on Zoom 7.0?
Yep. But I do not have the enhanced media on this account. So it's not based on David. I don't know if David added the enhanced for this meeting because this is using his PIM. So I don't know if it counts for
Well,
PIMs.
he said at the beginning of the meeting, he moved the enhanced media to this account so that this meeting would be streamed, would have enhanced media available.
Right. But again, you had the 60 frames. I don't, I only have 30. I had the 30. I do have the 3 choices now. Where in the older version, I don't have any usually. So they
I'm
definitely
sure you have
changed since
plenty of
7.
bandwidth. It's probably not a bandwidth limitation.
Yeah, no, I don't have. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, bandwidth. No. I think my Zoom Workplace app. It's looking at my local, what I can share.
Okay, I'm gonna leave.
I think that's where that's going. Then
log out.
Okay.
Come back. Oh, actually, I can't log out. When I tried to join this meeting on a client that was not signed in, it said you have to sign in order to join the Zoom Test Kitchen meeting because the web portal settings must say requires Zoom authentication or requires Zoom user to be signed in. So I will sign in as a different user that doesn't have enhanced media and come back and see if I have a different option.
Cool. Yeah, because right now that's what I'm seeing right now on my end as host. So, and again, right now Muddy is just a regular panelist right now. So he's just a regular user in the meeting. So
it's a regular guy. Be right back.
Tell me more, John.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to raise a complaint on behalf of Zoom's licensing department. So for my optimized video sharing, I have the ability to choose 1080p 60 frames a second on my share. I'm running the latest version on Mac. But I wish to call foul because that handsome lad has left us. And on the new rules of on behalf of, I don't think we should have the feature anymore. It should have gone with him. Sorry to be a stick in the mud, but that is supposed to be the new rules from Zoom. If you have a extra feature and your bot comes with you, if you leave the meeting, your bot is supposed to be kicked out as well. So I'm wondering, I'm calling foul. Sorry, just a bit,
Sorry, can you just say that again, John? Because
sure, there's a new rule from Zoom, which if apps and bots join a meeting, they have to be signed up to the on behalf of function, which means they are operating on behalf of the user that they were called by. And if they leave that meeting, those bots are supposed to be automatically kicked out of the meeting. So if you come into the meeting with a note bot, if you leave the meeting, that note bot should go with you.
Okay.
So if David Paskin has brought us a wonderful app and then leaves, it should have gone with him. So if we still have enhanced media on this account, that's slightly wrong to licensing, because in theory, David could go and join another meeting in 5 minutes time while we're still here, and he could get enhanced media running there.
Don't think so, John, because if he tried to join another meeting, he would get the message that he's still in his license is being used, and he'll end this meeting if he wants to join.
Do you think that's because because it's his meeting and he's a PMI?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's the infamous PMI that a lot of us don't actually use that we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just tried sharing something, and all I get when I say is 1080p 30, 720p 30, and I'm on the latest client on a Mac as well.
Yeah.
That is very interesting because I'm pretty damn sure I haven't taken enhanced media, and yet I've got the options.
And
Could it be to do with the screens and the if we're going for screen sharing? I don't know. Does seem weird
If
though.
you
That
share
must
the
be a
entire
reason.
screen,
and
if
I
you
do
share
have
the,
enhanced media on my
if you
personal
share
account.
the entire screen, the option for 1080p 60 is there. If you share an application, it's 1080p 30 is the maximum. And if
Oh.
you're sharing the video, it's 1080p 60. So it seems that it varies depending on what you're sharing. So the entire screen allows up to 60 frames per second.
Oh, you're
I'm
right.
seeing it.
Yeah, if you share the
The
desktop, it gives
application's
you.
1080 30. And if you go to the video, the more and then you select the video, it actually gives you the option for 1080p 60.
Gets
Yep.
more
All
magic
right,
as the
Muddy
more
is
you
back,
play
and
with
I'll
it,
just give
doesn't
you
it?
momentarily, bud. Yeah, we've been looking into this a little further too, Muddy. So we'll update you too. But go ahead.
Well, the reason it took me a while to get there and back is I was actually struggling to figure out how to sign out of the Zoom desktop client, or how to sign in as a different, how to switch accounts. And it was because the profile icon or the profile image I had on the other one was just a black square. And so I actually had to find the black square on top of the black interface in order to click it. Look at the settings and look everywhere else. So, all right.
I did notice the different icon when you did come in, though. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, I'm back. And so here is my share window. And if I click optimize for video sharing, let's see what I get. Oh, I still have 1080p 60 as an option.
Okay, let's just state some facts. Muddy, you're on a Windows machine, aren't you?
I'm on a Windows machine at the moment. Yep.
Okay. And it seems as if the host of this meeting has the license for this, for the enhanced media, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you can see that. And you're on what version of Zoom, the app?
7.0.0.
Yeah. Okay. So I think you've got all of the right things to make that happen. Is anyone on a Mac with 7.0?
I'm on a Mac
yeah.
with 7.0.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing.
And why can't you see it, Peter?
No, wait, we just discovered why. If I'm trying to share an individual window, not a screen, it only gives me maximum of 30 frames per second.
Oh.
But if I try and share a screen, it gives me a maximum of 60 frames per second.
Yeah, that's it.
Ah, yes, I see the same thing. When I choose screen, I have 4 options. Right. 720p and 60 frames and 1080p and 60 frames, as well as 1080p and 720p and 30 frames. But if I choose a window, I know I only have the 30 frames per second options.
That's a subtle, it's an interesting subtlety, isn't it?
And I wonder what happens if I choose the Chrome tabs. Yeah, similarly to an application window.
And if you choose a video file, you get all the options.
Under more?
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah, under more. If you choose video file, you get all the options.
Oh yeah, true. When I click video file, I have all the options.
Right now I don't know why I'm not. So that's interesting. And I'm on Windows though. So I'm trying to figure out what's limiting me on that.
And you're on 7.0? 7.0?
Yeah. I'm just wondering if it's because this is only interesting. Yeah, the only thing I could think of, I do have 1080 enabled on the account. As far as I know. I'd have to double check in the admin for my account, but I'm wondering if it's now becoming my user that's blocking it now.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Mike, I'm running 6.6 and I've got no options.
Oh, there you go. Okay. That does make me feel better, actually. Do you have stereo and mono choices still? I do make that funny because that is a choice too in the video section. But yeah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'll double check my account. I think it might be my account specifically, but don't see what it would be limiting it. It's not, it's as Muddy asked if it was bandwidth. That's definitely not. I don't have a bandwidth issue that it should be detecting unless there is something all of a sudden right now that it detected, but yeah, it's a good
But
one.
I'm really glad that we went through this because I can already see users coming on trying to share high FPS videos over Wi-Fi and complaining that it's not working.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
My-
Yeah.
my-
Yeah. Go ahead.
One other thing occurred to me, which is because we only see this option when I'm sharing an entire desktop, I wonder if your desktop itself is not running at 60 frames per second, right? So like in like if for some reason the display settings are somehow cranked down, you know, in the graphics card itself, right? So this monitor is running at 60 frames per second. But it would be unusual to have a monitor running less than that. But you know, it does occur to me that that could be a limitation if the monitor itself is not running at that.
Outside of North America, it might be running at 50.
True. Good point.
Right. But then I would ask John, are you actually getting the 50 choice being in the UK?
No.
You should.
I'm sorry, we get 30 or 60 and that's it. Doesn't matter where we are, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's an oops.
You don't get 120?
He's not getting, you're not getting 25 or 50.
No, I'm getting 30 or 60.
But John, is your monitor on 60 or 50?
I'm selecting video file, and it's giving me 30 or 60.
No. The question, John, is your monitor itself. What frame rate is it running at?
What's your refresh rate?
What's your refresh
I
rate?
know. I don't know. It's a Mac. It makes it up as it goes along, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. It actually doesn't. Because the hardware is telling it what it can refresh at, and you're in a 50 hertz country.
Well, I've still got a 30 and 60 hertz desktop on sharing.
Okay. So it's going to interpolate.
Yeah, so it's actually an ad frames for free.
I don't know. I've got 60 hertz refresh rates on my monitors, and I'm not in the States.
No gamers here.
Oh, Frankie, you going down to 120? What are you doing to me now? Don't go down to 120 hertz, please.
Just thought somebody would have a 120 refresh rate for their stuff.
It's a good one.
It's all right.
It's a good one.
That's justification for me to buy a 240 megahertz gaming monitor just to test that feature out. Yeah, that should get through accounts.
Yeah.
Tax write-off if you talk about it on the show.
Oh, logic. I like that logic. There's logic there somehow. All right, cool. Thank you, Tony, for making the comment. Great show today. Yes, it was having Andy and Jonathan and all of us gang here doing the great stuff. And everybody's mind is sort of numb now that everybody saw the Zoom ISO version 3 coming soon. They're just trying to figure out what they're going to do with it now. I think that's what more everybody was going, what do I do? I know what I've been doing. Now, what else can I do?
I can tell you one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to dedicate a machine just to do ISO clean recordings. And that'll be just one machine that does nothing else, because that's the safest way to do your recordings without overloading anything. And then have a second ISO machine that's just doing all of the switching stuff that I need to do and the isolation for production. And that'll keep it clean, because that's always been a challenge. And I've spoken to Andy so many times about recorders for getting ISO recordings, and it's been a challenge up to now. And we have a solution, because now we can just offload it onto a separate machine. It runs, and then we play with whatever we want to play with on the main. So that's one of the things that I'm going to do for sure.
Cool. Well,
and to get ISO recordings, it's certainly more affordable to buy a brand new dedicated M4 Mac Mini than to buy 8 hyperdecks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. And then again, for everybody that don't know where the hyperdeck land, those are our friends at Black Magic that will get less money because of potential Zoom ISO and a good Mac Mini.
But as Andy pointed out, it is reliable because it's offloading that horsepower, right? So depending on how much you're doing, and I don't know that I would try to do 8 or 16, right? I might limit it to 4 or something, but yeah. But yeah,
your mileage will
having
vary,
a dedicated
definitely.
machine to do those, like having that ability to record within Zoom ISO, in addition to all of the other things that Zoom ISO is doing, is freaking amazing. I mean, all of these, so many of these things they added are freaking amazing, but that is certainly one of them.
But
And
I
also
said
give
having a
your-
dedicated Mac Mini just for recording because so many times in my experience I've had the recorder on the same machine that I'm doing Zoom ISO because there are recorders, soft recorders available. And when something blows up, you lose the recordings. So just having it separate, standing alone, doing its thing, I think is going to make me sleep better at night for sure.
The infamous look but don't touch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Exactly.
also significantly need a good internet bandwidth, right? Because the more ISO you record. Yeah. So
Yes.
when you go for live events, it's going to be a little tough in venues.
Yes. So Rohit, most important too, what Andy mentioned as well. If you do get the enhanced media add-on, that again, you've now moved up from 30 megabit to the potential of 100 megabit.
Right.
So now understand that 100 megabit, if you're at a venue, you would potentially, if you're bringing everything in and doing a Zoom ISO locally in that venue, you need at least 100 megabit in. You don't necessarily need 100 megabit out, but you definitely need 100 megabit in, unless
Right.
you're resending everything out again. So that's very important. You keep that in mind as well. So that would be, yeah, go ahead, buddy.
One of the things that David mentioned in passing is, so enhanced media add-on gives your account access to all of these functions, but it also opens up a new settings section in the web portal where each of those specific items is a check mark. Do I want to allow higher resolution? Do I want to allow higher frame rate? Do I want to allow higher encode, higher, I forget what it was, bit rate? Do I want to, and then do I want to allow high bandwidth mode, which is what you're talking about right now? And so each of those are toggles that you can turn on or off. To access them, of course, you need to turn them on, which is what David was pointing out.
Right.
But yeah, that high bandwidth mode gives you access to potentially 100 megabit per second connection to the Zoom cloud to bring these feeds in.
Yeah, and you won't necessarily, again, it's not a hard, it's a hard limit, but it's always going to be, as Andy mentioned too, it's always going to be variable bit rate, right? So it's not going to be that you always need, your peak will be 100 megabit per second. If you're actually fully, in this case, it sounds like to me, if you're doing fully 16 feeds that you're bringing in, then chances are you're going to be pushing that 100 megabit fully at that particular point. If you're bringing everybody in at 1080p 60.
And
But
also,
you need a
just
lot more than.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Carry on,
Rohit.
Rohit. Yeah, carry on, Rohit.
So even if you have 100 megabit, but if you're doing at ISO recording, let's say we're doing 4 or 5 in a separate machine, you would need a lot more bandwidth than 100 to record 4 or 5 individual recordings.
Correct. That is going to be 100 Zoom ISO. So that's going to be based on that one account using the one Zoom ISO machine, right? So again, if you're going to start needing additional feeds, then this is where now you should actually be using NDI locally to offload, bringing in those feeds again from the cloud with the second account. And again, both Zoom ISOs for enhanced media, you would need 2 accounts and 2 licenses.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what I was trying to avoid by saying having recording on a separate machine, because
right.
Yeah,
right.
The catch you're running into is you're essentially doubling the pull requests if you pull them both if they're both pulling from the cloud at the same time.
Yeah, that's the main reason I stopped using vMix, because I couldn't record ISO on the same machine because they would just kill the whole of the production, and that was just a disaster. I just couldn't cope with that. But another thing that I'd like to talk about here, I think the enhanced audio outputs that Andy talked about and David couldn't show because he doesn't have those. That's going to be interesting because that's like having multiple auxes on a mixer.
Yeah.
You can really define what you want to send out to a specific output and have them separate. And that's going to be really cool, especially when it comes to all of the language stuff that we do. So
Yeah. Now again, I'm gonna, Fred, if you're available, this was probably something that probably intrigued you, but it was related to, I didn't catch how many audio channels will be added because again, I was busy grabbing everybody from YouTube. But so if anybody can give me a little quick tutorial of what Andy was talking about audio wise, is it going to be 6 channels of audio? Is that what we're looking at, from 2 to 6, or are we going higher than 6? Or was it even that high?
I don't know if Fred caught you. It was being addressed to you, Fred, but I heard 16. So I may be
Yeah.
wrong, but I
That's what
understood
that's what I
16.
heard too.
Okay, so we're going to go up to the similar to SDI standard of 16 audio channels then. Okay.
Did
Interesting.
Andy? Yeah. Did Andy mention, so for a while, I don't know if it's still true, but there's always been this problem of starting and stopping local recordings if you're using streaming mode versus record mode when you start this Zoom ISO session. Has that been addressed? Do we know?
I do not. I don't know if I don't. No, I
Okay.
don't. I was going to say that I know there's still that capability in vMix as well, where you have the streaming choice or the recording choice, and
Sure.
usually it depends on what I've seen, but I don't think this is a limitation anymore. Is that if you're actually going to stream from Zoom, it's better to have you to use recording then, and to have the streaming still come from Zoom, to have the two engines separated from each other. But I don't think that was an issue a long time ago, long time ago. But I don't remember if that's still involved or not.
During the presentation today, Jonathan actually said that he was switching on streaming mode. So
Yeah, he asked the question. He asked the question very deliberately of Andy.
Yeah.
That's what cued me in.
Did he get an answer? Because again, I was busy working with YouTube, so I didn't actually catch that.
He switched to streaming mode, even though this is being streamed. So I don't think there is a conflict in that.
The problem used to be that if you were left, like today, if you were to use the 8 bots that Andy, guy runs for Mimo Live, the 8-person one, it won't let you, if you have it in stream mode, it will not let you do it. If you have it record mode, it runs fine.
But that's something to do with Mimo Live, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. It wasn't, I mean, it used to be, I used to run into this problem all the time. If I were in, it was the exact opposite. If I was in record mode on Zoom ISO, and then I went in on the same machine, maybe this was the problem. I then clicked record locally to my computer. It wouldn't blow up, it would lock up.
I'm somewhat not surprised, Peter.
I'm not either, but if I set it to stream mode, then I could record locally to my machine.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it was not a clean. I did send Andy and company a note. I said, fair enough, I'm not allowed to do this, but it's not the cleanest thing to lock up. I mean, it truly would just lock the machine.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you need to be careful using Zoom ISO, and I hope they've fixed this in version 3.0, because if for any reason your Zoom ISO machine gets pulled into a breakout room when you open breakout rooms, you also have a lot of issues trying to get that reestablished. Yeah?
Yes.
So that I remember when we talked about this with Andy once, he wasn't aware of it, but he said, there must be a way of making an exception to the Zoom ISO machine, or always prompting the Zoom ISO machine if it wants to move, whether the host has said move all participants immediately.
I made that mistake once and never do that again. Doctor, it hurts when I raise my hand. Don't raise your hand anymore, right?
You still have to tell them when you go to your doctors, Peter.
Yeah.
You can't hide things. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. All right. Anyone on YouTube? Let me see if my graphics are working today. If it breaks, I'm sorry. Oh, it didn't break. Look at that. All right. If you have any questions from the YouTube audience, let us know in chat before we wrap it up on this eventful Andy announcement day of Zoom ISO version 3 beta being released on Monday. So
actually, the beta is releasing on Monday. It goes to public beta on Monday, is what he said.
Right. Yeah. It goes to public beta. Right now, some of us have it because he likes us. Yeah. But yes, it will be available publicly for all of our Zoom Test Kitchen community Monday. So check it out on Liminal's website. Yes, and it officially is a shame. John is correct that we are currently trying to be attacked by a Zoom bomber. Hi, Zoom bomber. You're not coming in. But we're not. We unfortunately cannot throw you into jail right now. So that's currently broken. But we're looking for Zoom to fix that for us.
Well, don't worry, because if they don't, I'm going to write an app to do the same thing. Because I like writing apps to fix problems.
This is true. This is very true. All right.
And
cool.
I'd like to thank members for not mentioning my app that makes Production Studio work in front of Andy.
That's a semi segue to some new features that came out with version 7 for Production Studio that all of a sudden nobody knows about yet, but some of us do. So I'll let us know here on Zoom Test Kitchen what John officially and I have not tested yet, but is supposed to be enabled in our infamous Zoom Events platform for Production Studio. Shall I do it, Johnny? It's getting scary.
Well, you can do. If you don't want to, I believe we have the guy himself coming to see us in a couple of weeks' time, don't we?
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Tuesday week.
Tuesday week. Yeah.
Tuesday week, we've got Josh Bragg coming on to chat about Zoom events. So if you've got any clever questions or even some silly questions, I don't mind. Bring them along on our Tuesday show.
Yeah. And what we'll be talking about, some of the new modifications of Production Studio, including, but not limiting to, some of the features that people have been asking for, which is Production Studio now can be run from Backstage. So for all those people that are currently using Backstage functionality, the Production Studio, as of version 7, now has the new capability of being run Backstage. You do not have to be within the webinar. You could actually be Backstage and actually mix the show from Backstage.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I said. I have not tried it yet with John, but
no, I haven't tried it yet either. And I can drag scenes. I don't think you could do that before. Well, I always had trouble dragging scenes, but I actually found that I could drag scenes in live Production Studio. So you set all your scenes out and you're running Production Studio, and then you want to do, I don't know, you want to do another function, a scene, and it's down the bottom of the list. So you can actually drag it up the list so it's easy to get to, and then you can click on it and make it live. I'm not sure that was available before.
Yeah, I don't know either, because I usually have everything in order. So have you ever rearranged scenes, Robert?
I have rearranged, but I'm not sure which version that was on. I got the feeling that changed when we moved Production Studio to the cloud, but I may be wrong.
Well, when they
Okay.
first announced the dragging scenes, I couldn't even do it when you were editing them. You know, when you're in pre-production and you're editing them, I couldn't get the drag to work for ages. So I never tried dragging a live one because I'd had so much trouble with the editing a template one.
I'm sure I've used it. I'm sure I've used it.
To be able to move the scenes around, you think so,
Yeah.
Robert?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Um,
just been something that I've never wanted to touch because John's already got everything pretty much in order. We've already worked that out so that, there's certain scenes that I've got in order. And of course I will bounce back and forth between scenes depending on what's happening on screen. But besides that, there's a flow where I've got my, my intros are at the beginning and my outros are at the end, and everything in between is I've asked John for a certain order and I've got it that way. So I don't have I don't need that functionality. So I don't know officially if that was there in 6.7 or 6.8, I guess, or if that's brand new for 7.0 or not.
Yeah, I'm smiling because, when you do a cyclical event like this, it sort of becomes more and more predictable as you go along. But if you're doing single events for clients, you never know what's going to happen next. And
yeah.
So, yeah. But John, if you could just share how people who haven't joined you on Tuesdays can join, I think that would be useful.
Yeah, the simplest thing is to do where's my best short link? If you use a short link, go.lordzoom.com/links, that page has all the things that I'm arranging.
And what time is it on Tuesday?
I'm glad you asked that because it's
as of next week it'll change again, but that's okay.
As of next week it'll change because it's unblasted UK time, so our clocks change this weekend, so we catch up with the States.
So what time is it at? Because it'll be on the 7th, I'm assuming. That'll be in 2 weeks' time, if I'm not wrong, or am I wrong?
Yeah, it's the so this week it's on the 31st, and then it's next week, and it's I'm trying to convert it now into time, so it'll be 3 p.m. Eastern. Yes, because I'll be on British summertime by then, so I'm back to 5 hours difference between you and the States. So it'll be 3 p.m. Eastern.
But Robert's in Poland.
Yes, I know. Well, I didn't want to translate what he's doing in his summertime because it's probably different to everybody else as well.
No, we do the same time, whole of Europe, I think. But I'll grab it on Time Buddy to figure out what time it is. But that sounds like around midday your time, isn't it?
Robert, again, we start Zoom Test Kitchen 3 p.m. Eastern.
3 p.m. to Eastern, okay. At the moment.
Zoom Test Kitchen Zoom Test Kitchen, as far as I know, we're not planning on
I
changing
found a feature, a buglet, I don't know what you want to call it, but if you have a recurring session webinar with Zoom, you can't change the time zone.
Right.
So I can't say, oh, I'm fed up with this UK time because the US guys are all out of sync. I'll just sync it with 3 p.m. Eastern. I can't change the time zone on the event.
Once you've set it up, it's immutable.
I can change the time, so I can make it an hour later or an hour earlier. I could go to an individual session in the series and change the time there. But if I want to change the base time, I can't change the time zone on the base time. So it's always tied now to London time. So I will have to manually, hack the dates and times when we got this overlap of summer times to make it work. But that's all right. If everything was perfect with Zoom, I'd have nothing to talk about here, would I?
We're always finding all kinds of new topics.
I can go from Lord Zoom to Lord Mome, can't I? See, just say.
Yeah. John's got all kinds of different hats on, literally. He's got his
I
red
have,
one on
yeah,
today.
I do. I can, as a member of the
There you
Zoom
go.
community.
Ta-da! The developer hat is officially. Let me put my developer hat on. He actually
Yeah, my
has one.
brother about and have a look at it already. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
that's the answer now. You see, if it doesn't work, the answer is okay. But as a Zoom developer, can we make it work? That's the way the world works now.
Yeah, and Andy was telling us today that supposedly everything in Zoom ISO is available video SDK.
It's
Oh,
all there for me
it's
to
all
play
there.
with.
There you go.
I've yet to see a company that writes good API documentation, so I'm sure it's all there, but can you find it?
Documentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they tell you there's an API. What else do you want to know? maybe you want to have a look at go.zoom/links, because every 2 weeks there's a developers show that tells you why they do stuff. Well, at least why we think they do stuff. And it's every 2 weeks because the Zoom community has its own developers meetup as well, every week in between. I wrote an article on LinkedIn about Zoom. I've had no comments so far.
Is that good or bad? It must be good.
I don't know. It's my prediction about where Zoom are going in 2026.
I saw the article. I don't know who's meant to comment, John, but you do have an expectation.
I'm expecting certain people to make comments. Yes, we'll see if they do.
The jury is still officially out.
Yeah, I still have.
Hey, John, for your Tuesday meetings, is it so? I'm not able to register
Of course.
because I have a geotagging. Is it like meant to be that way, or you change it?
I think I just have it that you have to register. I didn't put any extra conditions, but then you and China have some really weird rules applied to you, don't you?
So yeah, so surprisingly, it's yours and even Denise's. Whenever she does something from wherever she's Israel, I can't register. I just sent her a text and then she changes the setting and then I can register. Yeah. So I'm guessing by default, Asia or India is not selected.
No, I don't. What you mean if I'm black? If they've auto blacklisted you, that's always possible.
This is the first
That's always possible. Most of the fun I have is with the people from China.
Yeah. And Rohit, what I did was I put in chat the link to our YouTube channel as well. So you'll be able to watch us on YouTube as well.
Yeah, the YouTube works. I can see the YouTube. Yeah.
Good.
That's a good question. Let's see if we've got.
But I think it's a default.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I was trying not to say that publicly to because it sounds like we're slurring you guys, but for some reason it is a default set. It is a default thing. I have a feeling. I'm probably wrong. I have a feeling it's got something to do with the registration things that we were talking about earlier. And that it is set. But we ask people to register only because I just want to know who's coming. That's the cruel reason why I had the registration there, because people then start asking me who turns up to these meetings, and they need to have some sort of tracking of people.
Yeah. So I just saw the list of countries in which India is not there. Yeah. So I guess it's just a geo settings which you should select or deselect. Yeah.
You see, by default, for reasons beyond me, but by default, India is blocked. So, and if I want to unblock India, I then have to start filling in a whole load of information about my business. That's why it happens.
Is it to do with the your account, or is it to do
No,
with the
it's
fact that there's
no, it's
certain areas that are not where paid ticketing is not permissible?
it's something to do with Indian rules because if you uncheck India, you have to start registering businesses. And it's not that I don't want to register on here, but the account is one that I use with the Zoom community. So I'm not sure if I can change it.
Very cool. Mr. Fred, we haven't heard too much from you today. So what did you think of everything today? Are you available? Well,
Sorry, I was
Stephen?
dealing with a lot of medical stuff, making appointments, so I was trying to listen, and I was just going through the chat.
Yeah, so Andy did release on the audio side, supposedly 16 channels of audio.
I did see him go into something that showed 16 channels audio. I thought that was just his device.
Yeah, I'm not. Again, I wasn't paying attention either, so I can't help you on that.
Yeah, no,
I wasn't paying
I
attention.
thought I saw
I
everything
was
was
in
two
the
channels.
YouTube.
He was saying that you could either select one or two channels, but that device that he happened to pull up was a 16 channel device. I think that was in his hardware. I don't think that has anything to do with Zoom.
Okay. Robert, do you know more? Do you remember more from that?
No, I think it has, because up until now in Zoom ISO, you could only allocate one stereo output.
Yeah, there was something he clicked on. It said mono. It starts out as mono, and you could click it with a drop down, and you could change it to stereo. But what would you send? I guess if you were sending stereo music or something along with your video, you would get stereo. But I don't think it goes any more than that. I don't know.
It does.
That, like I said,
Apparently, you can set up 16 different outputs and configure them, then allocate them to different sources. So you can really set up auxes defined on what you want to
so like
send
to
out to
have different
data.
languages or something with the same
That was my
program output or something. Oh, okay. Well,
that's what that was my thinking. But I need to play with it to see exactly how it behaves.
Okay, it's still out there, because what I automatically thought that Andy was talking about is that you could actually get 16 channels of audio coming in from Zoom, but I guess that would be stereo pairs, Fred, I guess, from each person.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how you would populate them. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's about the time I started making phone calls, and I didn't hear the rest of what he was talking about. But I did see that thing come up on his screen. But when I looked at it, I thought that was a device of his that was tied to his computer. I don't think it didn't say Zoom. It said, Blackmagic or whatever the name of the device was.
Right, which would make sense if you want to route X audio that's coming in to X audio going out of your machine. That makes sense, but I don't know enough if that actually means that there could be potentially 16 coming from the cloud then.
But Robert, you said you had to go look for that. It doesn't. It only still comes up as mono, and then you have the option to change it to stereo, but then you have to go somewhere else in the settings to have it more pairs.
I think it's like a matrix before you get into Dante, that you define your outputs, then you define what goes to those outputs, and then you can take those outputs and allocate them to a specific device. I think there's an interim stage that has appeared there. I'm not sure, but that's the way I understood it.
But now you're talking Dante. You're not talking Zoom.
I'm talking Zoom ISO. I'm just saying that if you're running Dante on that machine, you'll be able to send out each of those outputs to a separate Dante channel to get out
I've never
network.
loaded ISO, so I don't know how that works.
Okay. Well, up until now, you could only have one output. So you could be listening on your headsets, or you could be sending the output to some specific place. And you had to, I used, for example, I used loopback and what's it called?
Hijack.
And hijack, thank you. Just to grab the different channels of the language channels to push them out to different devices. So now you don't need to.
That's what a lot of people seem to be using is loopback and hijack. Those two, again, something I've never touched, but those two are like the buzzwords.
Yeah. So what they've done now is you don't have to use them because you have 16 channels definable, and you can define the device that is allocated to each of those channels. So
That's cool. Were those
yeah, it
programs
is.
free or were they paid?
Um,
Loopback and Hijack.
They're paid. They're paid
you
accounts.
pay for them.
Oh, okay, so that's there to save you some money if you're a newbie and you're coming into Zoom now to save you some money.
There are lots of areas where I think the new Zoom ISO version 3 is going to save people money. Recordings, loopback and hijack, and what else did he talk about? You reallocate that money
Scopes.
to your internet in scopes. Thank you. You
Oh yeah,
reallocate that.
the scope feature was pretty cool.
You
did see
reallocate that money to your internet access because you're going to need a lot more if you want to play with things.
Well, actually, you're gonna need a lot more on a powerful computer that's gonna have 5 displays instead of 2. Because you're gonna need all those screens to be able to watch all this stuff.
Use your MacBook Neo. It'll work out.
Yeah, and make sure you check out any of the latest people on YouTube that are doing a good job of adding fans or adding thermal actual what was it that I saw that it becomes it's a big buzzword, the heat yes. Yeah. So that it actually so that the actual processor itself actually touches the chassis, so it actually dissipates the heat more, because that's everybody's comment is that's a design flaw, which it's not really, but you know.
All right, so I have a non-related Zoom related question for all you Mac people, because I have an iPhone and I have an old MacBook Pro, and I wanted to just get my photos off of my phone. So I plugged in my phone to my MacBook, and I went to the hard drive, thing, and pulled out my drop down. Look, there's an iPhone in there. I click on it, and it doesn't show me my photos. It shows me general music, movies, TV shows, podcasts.
That's an easy one.
So then I open up iPhoto and I go, okay, let's just do an import an iPhoto. No. It will not see any of my photos since 2013 or something.
Do you want the answer?
Yes.
So in your utilities, there's an application called Image Capture. That's how I transfer all my photos from my phone to my Mac without doing any of the stuff you just said.
So I'm sorry, where was it at?
Image Capture, it's in utilities.
Application/utilities.
Applications. Down to the bottom, there's got to be a utilities thing down here somewhere. Utilities, there it is. And it's called Image Capture. Well, maybe this is too old.
No.
I am on.
I'm on Sonoma.
Catalina. I'm on Catalina.
No, Image Capture's been around for 20 years. Like, it's been around forever.
Brett, if you just type image capture in the search at the top of the apps.
Of course, I would also ask the question of what vintage phone and what vintage Mac.
Yeah, but I've been using it for many models of Mac and many models of
it doesn't
iPhone.
seem to be here.
Maybe you deleted it because you didn't know what it was for.
No, I've never been in the utilities folder, so I don't know.
Anyways, your phone will show up as a device kind of similar to a portable hard drive.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to pick, there's thumbnails of your photos if that's how you want to view them. And then you can just put check marks next to whatever you want or all of them and specify a directory on your computer. And then you can just download whatever you want to that directory.
It's not there. It goes from G's to K's. There's nothing in H or I in the list.
Yeah, but Fred, if you just go into your app launcher.
Okay, let me go.
Your Launchpad, I think it's called. The Launchpad is the correct name.
Let's see. Launchpad, there it is. Okay, yep.
Yeah. And if at the top you'll have a search bar.
Yep.
If you type in image capture or just image, it'll come up.
No results.
Maybe, sorry, I know you said your MacBook Pro's old, but how old is it?
Well, there it is.
That's why I asked the question.
All right,
I think I used it with Tiger and
okay, it says
Snow
okay, so
Leopard.
I launched it. It shows an iPhone. Okay. Please
I
unlock
put the user
iPhone.
guide in the chat for you.
Okay. Let's see. I'm unlocked. Please unlock the iPhone. I did that. Come on.
You have to have a cable that's a data cable, not just a power cable.
I do.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. All right, here. Okay, let me go over here to your little thing. That image capture guide. You are awesome. See, I knew I asked the right people.
Thanks everyone
Okay.
for tuning in to Apple Support Weekly. Apple Support Test Kitchen.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Because iPhotos didn't work. I was like, why did it always works on iPhotos? It doesn't work today though.
This isn't specifically meant just for iPhones. It works for scanners and other things too, but it works pretty good with my iPhone.
Cool. As Fred wraps that up, I won't let everybody on YouTube. I'll let everybody on YouTube go, and we'll wrap it up for this week, and then we'll go into the Zoom Test Kitchen Lounge. Let's call it the Zoom Test Lounge, where we'll go into after show, into the dining room. Sure. Yes, we've gone from the kitchen to the dining room. That's good. I like that, Frank. So we'll do that, and we'll wrap this up on YouTube, and then we'll go offline so we could actually talk offline and continue to help our buddy Fred finish with his iPhone stuff. So it's time for karaoke, everyone. And yes, I'm only going to run it at 1080p 30 because I don't have 60 today for some reason. And I'll figure that out by next week too.
No, she doesn't sing faster on 60 frames a second.
Right. And I'll see if John wants to add live, where live and live should go in. So here we go.
Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen where the magic happens.
Live.
Every Friday we're on air.
Live.
Testing tech to thrive. From screen share to breakout rooms, we push Zoom to its max. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's in our tech.
Big snacks.
Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on
Live.
YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late.
Diner steak.
We'll dive into the settings, explore every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drab. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing.
And support all of your Mac issues.
Live on YouTube each week.
Live.
Audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be
Burner
late.
steak.
Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert in disguise, we've got tips and tricks. We'll open up your eyes. From polls to quizzes, we test functionalities. Join us live, see what Zoom does with these. So if your meetings lag or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions. We'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, where Zoom fun has begun. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube
Live.
each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late.
Burner
So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back. No wreck.
Big finale time.
Test Kitchen, we've got your back. No wreck.
No Shrek.
No Shrek.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us this week on the Zoom Test Kitchen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to let YouTube know, and of course, Zoom know how
Like.
much you love our content. Like, love, yes, our content. Don't forget, we're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Yes, that's 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. And enjoy your week, and we're off to the living room. Goodbye, YouTube.